What chord do I want to start on this time? Welcome everybody to the stream. Do you know what you'll be seeing? Doesn't really matter all that much, but you know Jimmy's gonna make a fuss. This is not one of my bests. I'm trying to think of what to rhyme with Melania. We're gonna bring facts and we'll spray them all on ya. That's a stretch. But still more people will have watched than Melania. That I hear documentaries not doing so well. It's the kind of show that they only play in hell. Let's go do the show. I didn't have a good plan. That was bad. It was bad. Look, guys, I can't, every time. Yes, the opening last time was better because I was thinking about it in advance. Last time it was a song about a little blood clot that breaks free and saves the world. Makes its way.
A little blood clot that could?
Exactly. A little blood clot that became my hero. That blood clot could become my hero. And that blood clot's still out there, flapping in the wind, a little piece of cholesterol, a little piece of KFC grease that is just absolutely refusing to do the right thing. Melania is hard to rhyme with. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jimmy Snow. This is Calling It Now. It is Thursday, September 20. Sorry, I'm just back in September. Happier days, if you know what I mean. January. There was a thing that happened in September. January 29th. It is not September 29th. And I, for the very first time ever, am joined by. Now, you go by Riverboat Jack across everything.
It's true. That is my online name.
And what does Riverboat Jack mean? Because I assume you work at a casino on a boat.
Well, that's kind of what it's meant to invoke.
Okay.
I worked at a Bible camp for a time in my younger days, and we were introducing ourselves to like the church leaders who ran the camp, and one of them was like, "Okay, what's your name?" And I was like, "My name's Jack." And he was just like, "Oh, we were gonna name our son Jack, but then, my old aunt, she told me, don't you name him Jack. Everyone will think of Riverboat Jack, the gambler." And like, of course, like all of the other people who worked at the camp, like we just looked at each other in silence and we couldn't figure out if it was a joke or not. And we looked it up later, and of course there's no mention of any kind of Riverboat Jack. And so for like the rest of the time I worked there, people called me Riverboat Jack. And made
that was your grandma who said that?
No, like the grandmother of one of the church guys who ran the camp. She
had an affair with a guy named Riverboat Jack is what happened. And like Christians so often believe, whatever happened in her life is what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's thinking about. We're a couple of loony leftist, queer ass. One of us is trans. Can you figure out which? We will not reveal the answer for the entire. Yeah, it's actually, that's going to be bonus content that is going to be on the extras on the DVD, not the Blu-ray release of the Melania documentary.
Oh, finally. They couldn't even pay people to watch it. They were offering like $50.
I know. They bought up a bunch. They've been mass buying tickets and trying to give them away to try and cover up some stuff. I was thinking earlier, I was like, you know how Jeff Bezos could try and win back some, I really hate that man. He could win back, I already shared this on the podcast, which hasn't come out yet, so I guess it's fair game. But Jeff Bezos could pretend to not suck if he just created a fake phone call that leaked that his whole plan all along was for the documentary to bomb. Like, no, that was the thing, guys. I'm on your side. And then
he's a double agent.
We'll just rub your head and be like, "What's up?" Anyway, you can call in if you've got a problem with trans people, you got a problem with leftism, you got a problem with... Here, who should call in? Am I able to actually have a conversation without melting down and resorting to slurs, and am also pro-ICE, pro-Trump, anti-trans, anti-queer, any of those things, you can call in. You can tell us why leftism is bad, why that's socialism, for those of you who are listening, since none of you seem to be aware that socialism and Democrats are not the same thing. You can call in if you want to argue that they are the same thing. If you actually have the misguided view, I don't know what happened with that guy, that Republican who called in. Did he just scream slurs?
He said he had another call coming in.
Oh, we're not his top priority. Okay, but when you call back, you might find that energy. Anyway, yes. Did I say DVD? I did mean Laserdisc, the Laserdisc edition of
the superior
Melania.
Format.
Yes, the best one we ever came up with. And I forgot what I was saying before all of that. You should call in if you'd like to explain to us why we should be Republicans. Why should we be MAGA? Why should we change ourselves and our ways? What about MAGA is so good? We'd love to hear from you.
I personally would just love to talk to a conservative who actually can define what socialism is.
Sure.
I would love that. I feel like that's like the holy grail of conservative caller.
Yeah. For the record, as you are about to call in and you Google it, we will ask a follow-up question. It'll sound something like, and what's that mean? Just so you know. Yeah, the phone number, it's very easy to remember. 33, and then it starts a countdown. 336 543 2101. There's an extra one after the whole thing. It counts back up. 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. If you would like to call and tell us what's what. Tell us more about you while we wait to see if any of these murderer apologists, I feel like they wouldn't even like that because they're like, that sounds like you're saying I'm going to apologize, because I don't think they know what apologists are either. These murder adjacent, I don't know, man, I'm having a day. I'm having a bad day, and this is our first time working together. But
it's okay. It's all good.
In the meantime, who are you? Tell people who you are.
My name's Riverboat Jack. I do political news and analysis over on YouTube under Riverboat Jack. And I talk about the news. I debunk conservatives. I make fun of conservatives. Crack jokes. And socialist, trans lady. Ah, shit. We were gonna save that for the DVD extras.
Damn it!
Ah, darn.
What? We're not. We have a lot of money invested into Laserdisc. The stock is not doing well. Now it's being tariffed, and we're trying to sell these Laserdisc players.
the line branded Laserdisc players.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. By the way, left and right, Republican, Democrat, liberal, can we all come together and at least agree for a moment that we should crowdfund the legal fees for this guy in Minnesota who tried to break Luigi Mangione out? So on Wednesday, a guy tried to pretend to be an FBI agent, and ICE would describe him as brandishing because they found in his backpack a barbecue fork and a pizza cutter. He was trying to, what did he show as his credentials? The pizza cutter?
He showed his ID, like his actual driver's license.
His driver's license, FBI. So this is an Arby's receipt. What are you doing? We can all at least agree to crowdfund that guy's stuff, right? Crowdfund them bills. Get them out.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh man. The news is wacky. By the way, I assume you've been seeing threads and Twitter meltdown over the video, or I don't know if you go on to Twitter.
I do sometimes, just to
I need to know.
News.
I need to know what the Nazis are saying.
Yeah.
I did take a little bit of time off a couple weeks ago when I heard they were just like distributing CSAM, but I was taking a look today. Okay, here's what I want. I don't want to give away my side of the issue. If you have now seen the video of, I almost called him Luigi, of Alex Preti from 11 days prior to his shooting, where he kicks a taillight off of an ice vehicle and spits at the ice vehicle, if you believe that that changes the narrative, I want you to call and explain why. If you believe that changes anything about whether or not it was just what ICE did when they killed Ice Pretty, I merely want you to call in and tell me why.
I would love to know. I would love to know the arguments, because there are a lot of conservatives that I've seen trying to argue that it changes everything.
Right.
It's a game changer. It's like okay, I would love to know why, because they don't really go into that in when they talk about this.
Is Joe Rogan hurting for views? Am I seeing on Twitter? Ew, Joe Rogan? Look, man, you've done a lot of shit, but who needs Andrew Wilson?
Ew.
Joe Rogan had Andrew Wilson on the podcast? Ugh. Nobody on the right even likes Andrew Wilson. They only they want him out there doing his gross ass shit, but like they don't want him to come over. Nobody likes Andrew Wilson. Voluntarily had Andrew Wilson on? Jesus Christ.
Can I just share real quick when because I was out publicly before I came out to my dad.
Yeah.
And when I came out to my dad, it went very poorly. And so I was just like, I posted like, I'm feeling really bad about this. Andrew Wilson actually responded to that post trying to debate me about why my dad was right to be upset about me coming out. And I just told him that I couldn't in good conscience cuck him that hard without his wife's consent. And then he got really upset and never really responded to me again.
The way he just cannot handle, like, he will shit on everybody. He's also like the most emotional, hormonal, unpleasant, like the dude cannot control his hormones. I fucking swear. He cannot, like, he goes off. Jesus Christ. He's the worst.
You've seen the pickle jar video, right? Where he
can't open the pickle jar.
Yeah. He's like made a big thing about how like men are the only ones who can open jars, and that he gets put on the spot and he can't do it.
Well, you greased it up. You greased it up, guys. Oh my fucking God, the worst. All right, anyway, Republicans, if you want to call and defend Andrew Wilson, anybody who disagrees with us on anything, we'll talk about it. That's maybe not true. There's probably stupid things I want to talk about, but the phone number is right there, 336-543-2101. You can finally try and actually debate trans issues with a trans person that you have such strong opinions on. You can try and destroy socialism with your very, like, tight logic. That logic, guys, is so tight. We want to hear from you at that number, 336-543-2101. I have a friend who's a porn star, and she just posted on Threads a picture of her with this guy who makes the cringiest TikToks, where it's like meant to be cringy. It's this guy who's like, I am the dragon. I will protect you, girls. You think that and anyway, now I have questions for her. I'm going to have to text her later.
Awesome.
I need, because like, what is that guy doing at the AVN Awards? What is that guy? Why is that guy?
He's protecting the girls.
I am here to stop the misogyny. She sent me a picture the other day of they have what is just a giant. I don't know you that well, so you're going to get to know me pretty quick and the weird things I talk about. Hopefully none of this is too weird. It's they are selling at a booth at the AVN what is essentially a giant single boob with like 10 holes in it for recreation. Different shapes and types of holes. It's crazy.
That has to be a very niche audience.
It does seem to be a very specific, and it has to get super specific, because it's like it's not specifically that somebody wants to smash a giant boob. It's somebody wants to smash a giant boob that's also covered in 6 different types of genitals. Like it's a thing. It's a wildly, if y'all don't follow Adeland on Threads, Adeline Gray official. She's been on the show a couple of times, and you can go and see. She had to censor it heavily. I imagine on X it's not as censored, but you can go see the giant weird boob they're selling. It's wild out there. Things are strange. Anyway, MAGA, where are you at? We are ready to talk. We're ready to hear from you. I want to hear your side of shit. I want to hear, as long as you don't, like the guy who in the last show was like, I think the gays need to get hung. Like, just have an actual reasonable conversation. Or if you have to go there, have a logical way to defend it, especially in a country that has a separation of church and state. So if you are doing that on the basis of your religion, that wouldn't really work so well. You can debate us or explain yourself to us here at 336-543-2101. Lines are open. I suggest you call now, because usually the way it goes is y'all are reluctant to start calling, and then once somebody is called, it's harder to get in after that. It's like it starts and then the people go crazy. If you are one of the Republicans who likes Andrew Wilson to the point that you want to hang out with him, I'm just kidding. Why am I asking for 0 people to call? Because that doesn't describe anybody. Nobody likes Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson doesn't like Andrew Wilson. He goes to sleep at night and is like, what did you do?
Also, for those of you wondering who Andrew Wilson is, he's basically he used to go by Big Papa Fascist online to give you an idea of who he is as a person. Yeah. And
now he just lives up to the name.
Yeah, then he rose to prominence by not debating, that's too charitable, screaming at sex workers on TikTok. That's basically
and talking
his
about
thing.
Like trying to direct men on how to live a life that does not resemble the life he's lived at all.
It's true.
Like, just does not resemble the kind of guy he is. The kind of it is really funny too. Like to have a guy like him out there describing masculinity, looking like he's gone as the Joker for every Halloween, because every time he smiles he bears that I'm smelling my own fart resemblance. Like, that guy is not, even toxic masculinity aside, I would not have looked at him back in my patriarchy days and been like, this guy is a good representative.
No, he looks like the kind of guy who was rejected from a used car salesman convention for being too slimy and oily.
Yeah. It is also funny too to have like the very specific way that a lot of these people are modeling real masculinity. If you ask them to describe like what femininity is or what would be wrong for a man, it's so incompatible that they're that they are saying we have the true masculinity, but we whine on the internet for a living. Like, that is literally what they would think is a woman's job. That's the way they portray women, like, oh, they're all headed to their gossip parlors. And that's literally like what you guys do. You guys, it's like being at a 6th grade table with a bunch of kids that are just like, oh my God, did you hear that? That's what you do for a living. It's what I do for a living, but I'm not a bitch about it like you boys are. Mm-hmm. Like, fucking, I'm okay. I woodwork, and then I come inside and I do my my toxically feminine job of complaining on the internet. It's just very funny. There's an irony to where it's like, it's kind of like the same irony that trad wife influencers get. It's like, you realize if we lived in a trad wife society, you wouldn't be allowed to be an influencer, right? Like, what are you doing? There's such a weird hypocrisy to all of this. If we had the masculine society you wanted, you would be looked at as a whiny little girl on the internet if we behaved in your toxically masculine way. Like, well, what are you doing?
It's why a lot of fascists really gravitate towards being like submissive, you know, like they know that they're Weasley little man children, and like they just need a big strong man to show them how to do things. It's
MAGA, really, we got a call lining up. The person is bottom of the barrel. I know you guys don't want him representing. We genuinely want to hear from you. We want to have discussions with you. MAGA, you can call in to discuss or debate at 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. I'm almost tempted to grab my guitar before I even answer this call. But he has already been treated to a song before. I guess I didn't ban that one though. 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. Don't cry when I call in. You're not going to call in. What are you talking about? 336-543-2101. I'm just waiting for this call to screen and figuring out where I can donate to the guy who tried to get Luigi out of prison. Remember that day of unity we had for just like 2 minutes amongst everything, when the left and the right kind of realized, like, we're not saying go murder CEOs, but if you're gonna, was this the worst one? I loved all the comments on when Ben Shapiro was complaining about it, and his own audience in his comment section were like, I don't know, Ben, I just kind of wish I could afford healthcare though.
Yeah. It's true. Like, a lot of them, when you really boil things down, they're like, yeah, free healthcare would improve my life.
Yep. 336-543-2101 if you want to call in and debate. Any other interesting news we need to get to today? Hey guys, just so you know though, that video is not AI. You guys got to stop saying it. The video from 11 days prior of Alex Preddy is not AI.
Also, if it was AI, they would do something more incriminating than him like kicking a car. You guys know that, right? Like,
right?
Come on.
There's now multiple angles. It never was AI. Look, when your defenses of AI get to be a little too dumb, you should really reassess, like, the idea of like, oh, but the name thing from the truck got knocked off. Or didn't get knocked off. It just disappeared. But also, first of all, the truck was further away. The quality isn't higher. That's what video compression looks like. But also, that is the area he was kicking, so it could have also just fallen off. Unfortunately, people, it is not a problem. It is not AI. It is real. Does not change a thing. Now, that said, if you disagree, if you think that video changes something, you think that other angle, that the thing from days prior changes the narrative, as they keep saying online, we want to hear you call in to defend it. All right. We'll take this while we wait for some quality callers. Possibly. I mean, I don't know how long we'll stick with it. Norm's calling back in. Hello. Norm, at this point, it's starting to feel like you are a glutton for punishment, but I do appreciate the clip of me singing
we
to
could
you
actually conversate, or you can just try to insult me. But I mean, I'd rather conversate with you than you try to insult me.
Okay, Norm, thank you. Thank you for that permission. Thank you for that permission.
Sure.
You are
Would you actually want to debate tonight, or you want to just go for
average. No. You said that I could just insult you.
Oh, really? Here we go.
Here, we just mute you in the meantime, since you're trying to talk over me. You are an incredibly stupid person. Norm, hey, can you address the fact that you called in on another show and claimed to be an expert on the quality or on transgender youth and transgender care because you are a therapist, only for it to then be revealed that you are in fact and by the way, I don't even know if I believe that this is true, but the only thing that you're actually claiming to be, as far as a therapist goes, is a massage therapist. So Norm, will you, yes, right. So as we get into whether or not we're going to actually conversate, will you first admit that in the past you have called in being purposefully deceptive, and that you no longer intend to use those deceptive practices, that you aren't going to let things hang like that. You're not going to be misleading. You're not going to say incomplete truths that make the truth sound better, or rather make your side sound better. Do you want to go ahead real quick, Norm, and address that you called in and pretended, Norm, to be an expert on the basis of being a therapist, and that you are in fact a massage therapist, that you have no expertise, that is no professional expertise? Why don't you go? Let's start with the
put money on it. Let's go
Norm,
with how much money you want to bet that I'm actually
Norm,
licensed.
Hey Norm,
how about I give you my license?
Norm, the beep is you being muted, so you're muted again. You're sitting and saying, how much do I want to bet? I don't care whether or not you actually are a massage therapist. It's not that hard to become a massage therapist. I was saying that I don't know that I even believe that, because you are a demonstrated liar. So now, a therapist, as in a therapist, when you said therapist and you were claiming that was the source of your expertise on trans issues, do you acknowledge that you were being deceptive and that, in fact, as a massage therapist, you have no professional expertise on trans issues? Here you go.
How about I give you my license number? You can look me up, dickhead.
What,
how about that?
Are you a massage therapist?
I'm a licensed massage therapist and craniosacral I work with professional athletes, yoga instructors, Pilates instructors, and chainsaw carvers.
Do massage therapists, because again, you just flew right by the actual point. I don't actually care if you are. The reason why I doubt it is that you already...
Look up my license
excuse me,
number,
Norm.
fuckface.
I don't care if you are a massage therapist. I care that you claimed on the basis
to care
of
about it because you're...
Oh my God. I'm going to mute you again since you won't let me get to the end of it. It doesn't matter if you're a massage therapist. Answer this question. Does a massage therapist, in becoming a massage therapist, become an expert on trans issues?
I have also studied human behavioral evolution under the Stanford University.
So you attended Stanford and received credentials that proved... No. And received credentials from Stanford.
Human behavioral evolution courses I've taken through Stanford University.
Hey, Norm, saying I've taken courses...
Hey, sis.
Great. I'm going to mute you again, Norm, since you can't help yourself. Saying you took courses does not, for example, establish that you passed courses, nor does it establish that those courses possessed within them education on the experience of trans people, nor does the fact that you say you took courses mean that you have a degree that to some level would say, okay, this person has proven their ability to at least process information, do homework, and might have a relevant expertise. And so in the same way that you were lying, you were being deceptive when you in the past claimed to be a therapist, and that gave you an expertise, but it turns out you are merely a massage therapist, which would be, there would be zero reason to bring up being a massage therapist as a credential on either the line, this channel, or even Javon's channel, because none of us debate massage techniques. Not one of us does. So the only reason you brought it up was to be deceptive, Norm. So in the same way that you are right now not saying that you have a degree, not saying that you are an expert, not saying that you are an alumnus, you are specifically using the phrase, I took courses, which once again doesn't establish you completed them, that you got good grades, that you processed the information. By the way, I have A's in courses I took in college that I have zero expertise in. I have A's in courses that I took in college that I cheated my way through because I didn't care for the course. This was the early days when it was called Google Lens, I think, back then, or something else. My humanities class, I cheated on every test because they didn't care that we were on our phone. So I kept taking pictures and Google Lens would literally tell me what the artwork was. Okay. So saying the phrase, I took courses at Stanford does not establish anything. So I will once again ask you, is there any relevance specifically, and then we'll get to your courses. Does being a massage therapist, as you cited as part of your expertise, imply a person has any expertise in trans issues?
Fuckface. I have a degree in human behavioral evolution, fuckface.
Okay, prove it.
I just told you I went to Stanford University under Dr. Robert
and I don't believe you.
Savasky.
And I don't believe you
because if you believe me or not. I really don't care.
And now I've muted you again. Well, you have a history of lying and a history of being really bad at debating the topics you have. So when you say you don't care if I believe you, if you actually had a degree, and I'm sorry, wait, by the way, what was the name of your degree?
I just wanted to thank you because you guys have now lost the culture war.
What was the name of your degree? A degree in what?
Behavioral evolution courses. Okay, great. I have a degree in human behavioral evolution.
Okay, great. Human behavioral evolution. And then you said courses again. And let me just jump in once again real quick, because I think you actually haven't even gone to college now. Which degree do you have in it? Specifically, what kind of degree do you have in human behavioral evolution?
Human behavioral evolution.
Right. What kind of degree? What kind of degree do you have in human evolution?
That's what it's called, fuckhead.
No, it is.
That's what it's called.
Hey, Norm, have you ever heard of an associate's degree?
Behavioral evolution.
What is an associate's degree?
Oh my God. You're asking me what course I took. I gave you the exact. All I really want to do is thank you guys because you guys have lost the culture war.
Nope. All right. So we've muted you again because you're trying to do this on your own terms, and we're going to do it on our terms because it's our show and it's not yours. So Norm, when I unmute you, is your degree, we've already caught you in another lie, Norm. You don't have a degree. There's no such thing as when I ask what kind of degree, I didn't ask what field of study, what kind. Is it an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD? Go ahead, Norm.
Bachelor's degree, dickhead. Bachelor's degree.
What kind of bachelor's degree?
In human behavioral evolution.
No, once again, doesn't know, for example, that there are types of bachelor's degree. One would hope that you have what is called a BS. I suspect you have a different kind of BS. So now let's find out. Because bachelor's degree, saying human behavioral evolution seems to imply, but I don't know Stanford, seems to imply a graduate level degree, which would not be a bachelor's. Sorry, Jack, that you haven't gotten to get in on this with Norm.
No, it's okay.
He's obviously very quality.
I still, like, that wouldn't be something that would give you credence as, like, a normal talk therapist.
Right.
Like we're still like so far away from being someone.
Oh, he's given up that he knows he lied about being a therapist, that he's a massage therapist. And if you had a degree in human behavioral evolution, you wouldn't bring up the massage therapy. You would say, I have a degree in human behavioral evolution. And we learn in human behavioral evolution. Okay, so just so you know, Norm, I've just looked it up. In fact, I'm going to pull up the entire course catalog. Yep. I have now confirmed Stanford does not and has never offered a bachelor's program in human behavioral evolution. So, who's lying?
I have a bachelor's degree. It involves more than one course, dickhead.
Yes, but it
you think you only take one course and get a bachelor's degree? Okay,
excuse me, Norm. Hey, Norm. Norm, I'm going to mute you. You said you have a degree, and you are making yourself look so dumb. You said you have a degree, not I took a, and now, earlier you said courses. You're now down to one course. So what specifically is the title, the field on your alleged, and I say alleged, bachelor's? First of all, which type of bachelor is it? A BA or a BS, and what field?
I just wanted to thank you guys because you pushed this so far that.
We're going to try that again. You said you have a bachelor's. You are clearly caught in a lie. You are clearly now lying about having a bachelor's degree to the point that I now believe you're lying about having ever taken the human behavior course even by itself. But maybe you did. I doubt you passed it. I don't think you have a bachelor's degree at all. I actually don't care if you have a bachelor's degree. Were you not making the claims so far, we would have never gotten to it. But you've been lying about what your credentials are as this sort of argument from authority because you think it will then take away our ability to claim that your claims are bullshit. And if you called in with an actual PhD making the same dumb claims, I would still be aware that you were wrong. Unfortunately, MAGA doesn't send their best. They're rapists, they're murderers, and some of them are people who lie about their credentials to get on to a show to try and be taken more seriously. Norm, no one takes you seriously, not in your professional life, not in your social life, not in your personal life. You are an unserious, pathological liar. Would you have any questions for Norm? I don't like...
I guess my question for Norm would be, did you actually get into Stanford, or did you watch the YouTube series on human behavioral biology from Stanford? Because I know there is one, because I went through a period where like I found
I've done both.
like free college courses.
I've done both.
No, you haven't.
I have done both.
You are willing to give me your license number. Are you willing to prove to me you have a bachelor's degree from Stanford?
How much? Sure, if you want to put money on it. Let's put money on it, because I'm done talking with you guys. Let's put $10,000 on it. How about that?
No, I'll do $200. $200 is good.
Oh, no. Let's make it. Let's do it so that it actually hurts you. How about 1,000?
No, I'm going to do 200.
No,
I'm not
how
your
about
dancing
1,000?
monkey, Norm.
Because
Norm,
I really don't have time.
Okay,
Norm,
why don't we make it $1 million? Because you're,
2 hours.
excuse me. Let's make it $1 million, because you're going to welch on the debt anyway. You're not going to pay it. You're not going to be able to prove that you have a bachelor's degree from Stanford. Because a minute ago, you didn't know what a bachelor's degree was. Then you said you had a degree in human behavioral evolution. And by the way, the proof that you give, I will be able to call the Stanford admissions office and verify with them. So whatever you're planning to have mocked up won't work either. I have verified people's credentials before. I used to have to do it as a part of my job. Okay, so why don't we make it $20 million? Because there's no way you're not going to welch on this debt anyway. So Norm, $20 million. We on?
You guys are a joke. That's why you've lost the
I'm a joke? You said you were a therapist to get credentials, and you were a massage therapist. You tried to talk down to me in our last show and made the claim. Your argument from authority last time when I was roasting you to hell and back again was, I have $90,000 in audio equipment, so you pretty much suck. That's literally what you said in the last show. I'm a joke, Norm. You are a running joke, Norm. You are a joke of a person. You are a meme of a person. People at this point are wondering if there's a conspiracy, and I'm paying you to call in because you actually go past the point of absurdity that any reasonable person watching would be like, holy shit, there's no way that somebody this stupid would just stay on the line and not hang up and move on. MAGA, surely you have somebody better than this to represent you. Because Norm is a gung-ho MAGA. Norm is a gung-ho MAGA. By the way, why would you take both? I've done both. I've done both the Stanford. No, you haven't, and you don't have it. Let's do $100 million. It doesn't matter that I don't have $100 million because no matter what the dollar amount is, when I'm correct, you were never going to pay. You just were expecting me to go, no, I'm not doing it at all. I'm not doing it at all. So you wanted to go with numbers that I wouldn't. You don't have a bachelor's degree from Stanford. Here you go, Norm.
Just wanted to thank you guys because you've lost the culture war.
You've said that 3 times. Do you know any other songs? Do you have a BS or a BA from Stanford?
BS.
What's BS stand for?
Dude, I'm not. You don't want to have a debate. You just want to insult.
You don't know what BS stands for. You don't know what BS stands for. Then what is it? What is it?
Of course I know what it is.
You're Googling. I can hear you Googling.
This is insults.
Oh my God, I can hear you Googling. You turned your phone away so you can look up what a BS is. And at first it's going to tell you bullshit, which is what your degree is.
I don't really have time to be insulted by a bunch of fucking faggots. Bye.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Norm now is ready to slurs.
For the last 20 minutes.
Oh my God, dude. You are a joke and you're resorting to slurs. You have lost it. Oh, he hung up. Oh, Norm hung up when he didn't. Norm doesn't know.
This reflects very poorly on Stanford.
Oh my God, Stanford. I'm going to need a chat with you. Oh God. Fucking Christ.
I thought such an elite institution would make a better debater.
Norm doesn't know what a BS is. That's all I have. Norm doesn't know what a BS is. It is the initials for the actual degree he has. Norm doesn't know what a BS is. Did you hear it? Too, as soon as I said, I can verify the credentials you sent me, suddenly he didn't want the bet anymore. He doesn't want it.
He left $100 million on the table.
I'll up it. $2 billion.
Whoa.
All you got to do is prove that you have a BS. Do you have a BS or a BA? BS. And what does that stand for? You know, I don't have time to be here talking to you guys. I've been on hold for a while. I waited on hold for an hour to talk to you guys the other day. I got my ass absolutely handed to me the other day. Jesus fucking Christ. If you're going to lie about having first of all, you didn't know what a bachelor's was at first. When I asked what kind of degree, you kept repeating human behavioral evolution. No, what kind? Oh, what do you mean? I already told you. Jesus fucking Christ, Norm. You take yourself so seriously. And Norm, I'm begging you to do some Googling tonight. Not of what is a BS, because I really got fucking owned on a show today. You can go ahead and look that up. It stands for Bachelors of Science, by the way. It's like right there. It would have been so, you could have guessed it. Honestly,
I guarantee you he just watched. Honestly, I don't even believe that he watched through the Stanford lecture series on behavioral biology, because that would require several, like a couple dozen hours to get through the entire thing. And
some transphobe has made a guide somewhere and said, and if you refer to just this specific clip from this video, taking, I'm sure, it out of context, but it'll be, here are the selective clips from there that promote our transphobia. That guy is such a fucking joke. What a fucking joke, dude.
And also,
MAGA.
It wouldn't matter if you listened to every single one and took detailed notes, because that doesn't have anything to do with trans people.
Norm, I'm begging you. Begging you. And I am begging you. Look up Dunning-Kruger. It's like your middle and last name. Norm Dunning-Kruger. I am convinced that is your name. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. If you would like to call and have an actual conversation in a way that isn't so comically terrible, all you got to do is it's such bottom of the barrel. Don't lie. In a way that is too easy. Somebody rewind and figure out where I just put my pencil down. Oh, I found it. Never mind. A way that is too easy to verify. My God. That's just dumb. That was so dumb. We are all dumb. More dumb. I am dumberest for that. Do you hear me? He made me dumberest.
My expectations for MAGA were low, but like, damn. Guys, I know there are smarter clowns than that out there. Please.
Surely MAGA can do better. MAGA, we'll talk to you. 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. You can call us right now and debate us. Debate us because you hate us. Wow, why have I not used that phrase before now? That's honestly pretty good. I'm just like a thinker, you know? I just get ahead of it all. I thought it was funny. It's pretty good. It's like hate us because you ain't us. Hate us, debate us because you hate us. Call in 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. Norm, I'm honestly surprised figured out how to use a phone. I have a master's degree in using a phone. That's what's on my degree from Harvard, by the way. I have a Harvard degree from $2 billion. Wait, how much did I say I was up to? I will give Norm $1 trillion.
Whoa.
1 trillion.
That's a real offer.
That's 100%. We'll sign papers. I'll get it notarized. I will give you, how much money even exists in the world? Like what is the money? What, you familiar with that number? What is what would you call that number? How much? No idea. How much money exists in the whole world? I don't know how to put it. And it's going to be a terrible number where it's going to be like, guys, this is how much we have just given our entire world over to that this is true. How much money is in the whole world? I'm just going to Google it that way. It's got to be like a couple quadrillion. I don't know. Let's see. In round terms, they're on orders to hundreds of trillions of dollars in money globally, with around $140 trillion of broad cash-like money as of 2025. The larger figures if you stretch the definition to more financial instruments. Yes, stretch it. Make debit money and stuff. I don't know. Really. I want to know exactly. 148 trillion does not seem, but anyway, if it is 148 trillion, Norm, I'll give you 150 trillion against your mere $10,000. So you're putting up your original $10,000 offer, pretending you have $10,000. Well, maybe you'll sell some of his $90,000 in DJ equipment. He really said that, just so you know. That was really one of his comebacks the other day.
Oh no.
I have $90,000.
So he's a massage therapist DJ
who in the 90s toured Europe having sex with international models.
Why is that impressive?
You didn't meet them. They went to a different school. Like, dude, you got to at least come up with your list of lies and stick to them. Stop expanding every conversation your lies. If you're making up new backstories for every conversation you have, it's not going to work. Anyway, boy, the MAGAs are quiet today, except for Norm. 336-543-2101. We want to talk to you. What else is in the news has been catching your attention?
Oh, just I live in Minneapolis, so everything that's going on here, the organizing and the.
I didn't know you were there.
Oh yeah.
Have you gone out in it?
Yeah. It's not great. They are just like snatching people up off the street. People are not making that up. And like there are underground, not even underground, like that makes it sound like shifty. It's just like people in the community are coming together and being like, oh, you don't feel safe going outside? Can I pick you up anything at the store? Like,
that's
and
nice.
Then the national media is like underground insurgency. It's like, oh my God, no, we're just going to the coffee shop and like delivering groceries. Like this isn't, it's not like some kind of crazy conspiracy that everyone's in on. Like we just care about our neighbors.
So are you a full-on, I mean, you're a leftist, so I assume, are you a full-on abolish ICE leftist?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm also like abolish DHS. Like I don't think DHS is doing anything great at the moment. Like the way they're treating people in the concentration camps they've built, like the entire thing needs to be gutted and those people need to be freed. And there's no reason for ICE to exist. We can replace ICE with goddamn paperwork. And we should.
MAGA, you could call right now. We'll debate any of you. And now you've got your things. We think that we should abolish ICE. Yeah. We think that we should also way take money back from the billionaires. And we absolutely, MAGA, do any of you still believe that we shouldn't have universal health care? That like every other developed nation, we shouldn't have a universal health care program? Do any of you believe that? We had one of your people call last show, and his proof was that our healthcare system was better than Ethiopia's. Okay. I asked him to name a country whose healthcare system we have better outcomes than. And I specifically said a developed modernized developed country. And he said Ethiopia. That's how far down the list he had to go for a place whose medical outcomes are worse than America.
I would love for someone to call in and describe how Donald Trump's new Trump care system is going to be better than any kind of universal healthcare system.
I would love to hear that too. I already have questions, but I don't want to spoil it. I'm making a Threads post. Call and explain why we should join your movement. And I don't mean your bowel movement. Oh, I'm filled with that great comedy today. I'm just fucking nailing it.
But we had a bunch of like conservatives come into my stream last night wanting to debate me. I told them to come and call in over here and they said they would. And weirdly, They all seem to be cowards.
Something
So
weird
strange.
happening with the thumbnail where in some places it's correct and in some places it's showing the thumbnail from the last show with Ari instead. It's weird.
Oh,
it's
weird.
Yeah. It still says Riverboat Jack, but it has a thumbnail from the previous one. It just did it to me on Threads. I don't know if it's doing it to everyone. Anyway, you can call in 336-543-2101. We don't really take a lot of non-debate calls. We'll do very briefly with Caleb here. But we're more on this channel a purely debate, disagreement kind of thing. But Caleb, very, very briefly, what's your question?
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call. Hopefully you guys get some nice MAGA callers. But I guess my question, actually, I have two things that I wanted to say. One is that Norm last time said he was a cranial sacral therapist. That is basically something that claims it can cure cancer just by manipulating the skull, and is complete bullshit. And as someone with a kid who has cancer, like, I've definitely been preyed upon by those types of people. So Norm is just even more full of bullshit than he think he is. But
one more L for Norm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I also wanted to, the main thing I wanted to ask was that in my life, I encounter a lot of anti-trans people who are extremely pleasant and will hear you out and will basically say, like, oh, I accept that you have all these statistics and all these papers to back you up, and we're just going to agree to disagree. And I guess the thing that I don't understand is how can I, like, reach those people? Like, if they're accepting that I have all of these statistics, how do I actually get that through their skulls? Because that's just become such a frustration of mine lately. So I guess that's my question.
It's a great question because I've talked with a lot of MAGA folks, a lot of conservatives, and generally just coming directly at like their preconceived notions is just going to get them to dig in more. And in my experience, what you gotta kind of do is present them with the mental dissonance, like where their ideas start hitting into reality and where they're like noticing that. And like you try and get them to pay attention to that mental dissonance because they're the only ones who can really resolve that for themselves. And it's either by retreating into delusion or by breaking through into, the actual world. And the more that they break through, the more likely they can continue to break through in a lot of different ways. I feel like that's how a lot of people de-radicalize.
Also give up. I mean, like, give up on that they're going to admit it then. You have the conversations to plant a seed, but if your heart is on the outcome of watching a person change live in front of your eyes, you're calling into, I don't know what Riverboat Jack's situation is, but people call in with lots of like, how do I specifically change the mind of the person who's close to me? Well, I haven't done that, so I don't know. My parents are still Mormons. I have multiple siblings who left the church. The only thing that I did that like helped with that was be there to talk with them when they were ready. But the conversations and arguments I had with them had very little to do with their actual changing. In general, you don't change a person's mind. People change their own minds. And so information comes to them when they are ready and when they're actually willing to, in good faith, engage the information, for example. So you might find that if you aren't too aggressive, which obviously sounds hypocritical coming from me, but I don't do this show with members of my family who call in. Not that I want to be aggressive with some of them. But if you're too aggressive, when that moment comes that thing is like bugging them in their head and they're like, shit, I kind of want to know more about that thing I heard. You might not be the person they turn to then ask about it. And so you have to balance the reality of, is there a chance that this person will be, that we might be able to make some headway with this person eventually? Or do I right now just need to feel better about telling a fascist that they're a piece of shit? And sometimes that's all you need.
That's an interesting point, because I was just about to ask if you thought there might be some value in just saying, like, well, fuck you then, and go the separate ways. But
feels nice.
I guess it just has to be in a case-by-case basis in this instance.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels good to tell someone to fuck off. That sometimes that's the only value. It doesn't mean you should always do it, but is there some value? Whether it's the right value is different, but is there some value? Yeah.
And I just want to echo Jimmy's statement. Like, you are almost never going to get someone in the moment to say, I was wrong, you are correct, and have like their kind of, come to Jesus moment in front of you. But you are planting seeds. They are going to think about some of those things, hours, days, weeks later, especially as, pressure mounts and the world keeps getting crazier. I do believe people can de-radicalize, but it is not your job to de-radicalize them.
Yeah, that's very true. So maybe I'm just taking it too personally then.
Could be.
That's a good point.
And it's hard not to, like I sympathize. It's hard not to take it personally.
Yeah, it just seems like so many people are just literally out of their minds nowadays that it's just, I don't know. It's just hard for me to kind of even conceive that people can be so evil. So, but I don't know. Thank you guys for your perspectives. And I don't know. I also just want to say fuck ICE, fuck Trump, and fuck MAGA. So
there's that little blood clot. That little blood clot refusing to break free and save us all. Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah.
Bye.
Actually, with how much aspirin he's apparently taking.
Well, he doesn't want that thick blood, Jimmy.
Right. I don't want the thick stuff pumping through. Daniel in Maine. You are on the line with Jimmy and Jack. How are you, Daniel?
Howdy.
I'm doing well, and how are you guys?
Just fine. How old are you, Daniel?
I am, darn it, I'm like 53 now.
Goodness. And in the last 3 elections with Donald Trump, who'd you vote for, Trump or somebody else?
It started with Trump, then I went with Biden.
And then what?
I couldn't vote for either, because the honest goodness is I don't see any difference between either one. Both sides don't keep their word, and neither side knows anything about the Bible.
Is that important to you?
It is very important to me, but in a different way. Not because of God. I grew up in foster homes and I'm Asperger's. I don't have a mom or dad. And the thing that taught me my moral fiber, partially was the way Jesus lived, but it was also the World Book Encyclopedia. So for me, facts are just as important as faith. But I also...
Can you name one of the values? Hang on, real quick. We're not, because you're kind of bringing in a lot of information, and there's questions that I have along the way. So if you're specifically, what religion is Kamala Harris?
I believe she's Catholic.
No.
No.
Joe Biden was Catholic.
Oh, yep, you're right.
So if you don't even know what religion Kamala Harris is, how do you make the claim also that she doesn't know anything about the Bible? What if she knows a lot about the Bible, she just interprets it differently than you?
And everyone, and that's where one of the biggest problems is interpretation.
But Daniel, could you answer my question? You made the claim neither side knows about the Bible. We'll skip the fact that that's what you're calling the sides. I don't think knowing the Bible is important, but you do. You've made the claim neither side knows. Obviously, Donald Trump doesn't. He wasn't able to name his favorite verse. Because he teleprompter reads, just said 2 Corinthians. Like the guy doesn't. That one's obvious. Now, Kamala Harris, what leads you to believe she doesn't know the Bible, if that's important to you?
For me, the fact that we shouldn't lead others to our own deception.
That wasn't your question. What makes you think she doesn't know the Bible?
In the Bible. Because
what makes you think that willing to what?
Because she's willing to deceive.
How do you know that?
To get a voting. Because, okay, when I was in California, and maybe part of it was propaganda, part of it was the news, but there were irregularities in how she voted. For example, she would be on the one was in regards to homelessness, for example.
In what position are you talking about? In her position as what?
This was when she was talking about the persecution of homeless folk. This was like several years back. But
right, and what you said, you were talking about the way she voted as what? How she voted. In what position was she casting these votes?
It was the way she voted in regards to it was her stance.
As are you saying this is the way she voted as Attorney General?
No. How can it, when I say voted, I don't mean voted as in like a congresswoman thing. I'm talking about in her stance or political position.
Okay. So here's the thing, Daniel. So far, I don't think you know a thing about her or her political positions, but you've talked about you thought there was no difference. You clearly have not tried to find a difference. There is a difference. Neither is great. One is much better than the other. So when it came to voting last time, you definitely flopped it. Now, you're talking about the Bible and that nobody knows the Bible and how important the Bible was to your life. Well, here's the thing. The Bible was important to my early life too, and it ruined my early life because the Bible is an evil book. And in fact, every good thing I could have gotten from the Bible, I can get from other things without needing to get all of the terrible, evil things from the Bible. So what is one of the good values you learned from the Bible that a person couldn't have learned without the Bible?
Well, in that regard, nothing.
Then why is it important? Then why is it important to you whether or not the candidates know the Bible?
It's important to me if the candidate says she knows the Bible.
She does, because she's a Baptist. She's a practicing Baptist.
Just because you're a practicing Baptist doesn't mean that you're actually following you can follow a belief structure. But
he just moved the goalpost. You just moved the goalpost.
You did just move the goalpost, but I am curious. So you're not going off of votes. You're not going off of
self-reporting.
It's worthless that she is a longtime adherent of the Baptist faith. You're going off of what exactly to say that she's a fake Christian who doesn't know the Bible?
I'm going by, when I would watch the news and I would see debates, and I know there's propaganda involved with it, but it's in regards to the reporting that's telling me that, when she was a senator back in 2019 or something, that she voted, there was a bill that was important in regards to homelessness that she said she would go one way, but then she voted counter out. Her excuse was that overall it would have been helpful, but there were some things in it that did not stand up for her, even though most of the people in the county agreed with the bill. It's the idea that, it's the idea that I can't handle choosing the lesser of two evils.
That seems like you're just saying you can't handle politics, because that's choosing the lesser of two evils, or another way of saying it, the best available option. That is politics, right? politicians might lie, they might mislead, but at the end of the day, you have to look at their track record and you have to make the best possible choice given the circumstances that you're in, the cards that you're dealt, as it were. Like,
Did you call the other?
But
go for it.
Daniel, did you call the other day?
The voters. No, I don't believe so.
Okay, I just was starting to remember. I thought I remembered. You're in Maine, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. And part of this is because I'm familiar with the points you're trying to make, and you're making them very badly. Because you're trying to say, as a senator, she flip-flopped on a vote. That didn't happen. You're trying to actually invoke that when she was the San Francisco district attorney, people felt that during the period of time she was there, while not through policy, it seemed like the city became more punitive toward its homeless population. And you're mixing up concepts of she's a flip-flopper when she votes and a criticism of her in the past. People do change, mind you, Daniel. So it could have been a change. It could have been that she plays politics. She definitely does. Lesser of two evils is what you have. Now, Daniel, you are in Maine, right?
Yes.
Who are your senators?
Oh, it is Angus King, and it is, I know it's Angus King, and it is the other old lady. What's her name? I'm so sorry.
Susan
Okay,
Collins.
if you're talking about the state, Susan Collins, thank you.
And who is your governor?
Oh, we joke about her being Janet Reno, but it is, one second, I know who it is.
Okay.
She was a teacher.
It starts with Janet. Her first name's Janet.
Wait, it's not Janet. No, hold on. I'm not cheating. I don't like to cheat. I'm sorry. Her name's escaping me.
It starts with Janet. I don't know. Yeah, she's older woman, blonde hair. Rhymes with Janet Stills.
Mills, Governor Mills. Thank you.
Janet Mills. There you go. And I'm relieved that you could at least get there. Because usually when somebody's coming in with this, like, mixing issues up so much, they don't even know who their local elected people are. But anyway, it is Janet Mills. Now, can you tell me what is one of Janet Mills' biggest accomplishments as governor?
Honestly, right now, one of the things, at least for me, Janet Mills is standing up for, in her limited way, it is standing against Donald Trump. She is allowing
Daniel,
ICE to come in.
You're kind of doing it again. You're not answering the questions you're asked. You're answering. You're just trying to say a thing that sounds like an answer. And my problem here, Daniel, is only a person who calls in with the thesis, there's no difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It seems to be that those people only have the option to be terribly politically uninformed and to not actually really know what's going on. And to not really, the fact that you did a swing vote from Trump to Biden and then nothing, to me, Daniel, you're calling in to complain about sides that you don't really know. For example, you apparently told the screener that both sides, I'm very interested in what you think those sides are, since they both the Republicans and the Democrats currently serve the insurance industry higher than any other industry. But you're saying both sides are saying destroy universal health care. So Daniel, I think I'm speaking to a person who has strong opinions built on no information.
No, you're speaking to someone who yes, I may not be organized. I do apologize. I'm trying to do this without notes. But you're also speaking to someone who, because of Janet Mills' laws, I was allowed to actually, there's trauma there because of something she passed. It got rid of my human rights.
What was it? Which human right did Janet Mills remove?
My wife was being sexually harassed by our landlord. He offered to get her pregnant. He destroyed our car, and I ended up in the hospital.
And Janet Mills did what?
She passed a law saying that any household that is attached to the landlord doesn't have human rights under the human rights statute, because there's 2 or more units attached to the single family home. I don't have the same human rights as someone who had lived in an apartment. He was able to come in our home naked. He was able to grab my wife's ass. We tried to call the police and they wouldn't freaking answer. They tried to call. We tried to call and they wouldn't come.
So I've muted because Daniel, at this point, I'm talking to a person who is unwell, is the nice way to put it, because none of this is true. Like, you have civil rights still. No one is allowed to come in and sexually abuse your wife just because they are your landlord. None of what you described is how any law has been changed. It is there. You don't lose human rights to not be sexually harassed and not be sexually abused. And Janet Mills, a woman who is a Democrat, would pass a law that says such, Daniel. I don't know how you are filtering this information. I don't know where you are getting your news from, but there is something that you aren't able to in full capacity engage, and someone is either taking advantage of that, or I don't know. But I am not a mental health professional, and there's not a responsible way for me to continue this conversation because there's something else going on, and I don't want to be mean about it, but this is not a real thing.
I will say, just if this did happen, I do believe that there are cops and police departments out there that would not respond to a call about sexual assault. I do believe that, because I know many people who have been in the same boat, but that's not because there's a law passed that says sexual assault is fine and has taken human rights away from people. That's because police departments do not prioritize sexual assault and do not treat it seriously.
Yeah, they are legally required to take your statement. And it sounds like you were saying that they wouldn't even talk to you. I don't know. Whatever the story is, there is no law that is passed, and there's just a level of, Daniel, I'm not willing to, you're welcome to Google. I've already checked. There is no law that she passed that said you don't have rights. And if somebody comes in and sexually abuses your wife under the guise that you don't have rights because they're the landlord, that's not a thing. In fact, looking it up, it looks like Mills has signed tenants' rights bills that expanded tenants' rights. Let's see. A lot of people complain that there isn't adequate discrimination laws, that there needs to be more, because there is some exemptions for small owner-occupied situations. But no, there is not any law as he described it. And there's not a responsible way to continue with this call. Okay. Jesse in Massachusetts, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jack. How are you, Jesse?
Good. How are you, Jimmy?
Just fine. How old are you, Jesse?
I'm 39 years old, and my pronouns are he, him.
Great. And
awesome.
In the last 3 elections with Donald Trump, how'd you vote?
I voted for Trump all 3 times, except for this past one. I didn't vote in the past one.
So not all 3 times.
Right. Trump twice and then a pass.
Yes.
Did you vote at all? You didn't vote for Kamala Harris?
No, I didn't vote for any of them this last election.
What prevented you from voting for Trump this last election?
I feel that the media was more on his side than they were the previous 2, and that just gave me a bad taste. I didn't think he was going to follow through with what he was going to do, especially with ICE. He's already losing the battle with ICE.
So some vibes-based politics?
I'm sorry?
Some vibes-based politics?
Vibes-based politics?
Yeah, you didn't meet the vibe. You didn't like the vibe.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Got it. It says you're pro ICE. How do you feel like they're doing?
I think they're doing as well as they can do considering the circumstances.
Do you feel like what happened to Alex Peretti was them doing the best they can do with the circumstances?
No, I think they definitely dropped the ball with him and Renee Good.
When we say drop the ball, or do we mean like, you dropped the ball, or do we mean murder?
Cool.
I wouldn't say murder. I would say manslaughter.
What is murder? What would be the difference that you think?
I think murder is intentionally premeditated killing somebody.
That's first-degree murder.
Oh, first-degree murder. So, I mean, I think he was killed by more than one of the officers.
Does discharging your weapon suggest that the killing was intentional?
Yes, they definitely shot to kill.
Okay. So premeditation is why you'd think it's not murder, right?
Right. I don't think their goal
so for the record,
going out that day was...
Second-degree murder is specifically intentional killing.
Okay.
Or even extremely reckless killing without premeditation.
Well, I don't think they were reckless.
It's or. Intentional or reckless. Okay. I do think they were reckless. I think it is reckless to respond to the fear that a gun is present with the automatic assumption that therefore it is being brandished and used against you. And so you are killing somebody under the cover of, we are fire. By the way, there's other elements of recklessness. They are firing in directions that literally could have harmed other people, including other ICE agents. That's even more true when it came to Renee Good. At least the guys were, as they were assassinating Alex, they were at least pointing more downward, but still could have hit the legs of other agents. So there's actually multiple points for recklessness, but intentional homicide, second degree, is the non-premeditated. Manslaughter's like incidental.
And killing. I would just add to that, when talking about premeditation, it doesn't need to be something that you planned days or weeks in advance. It can be premeditated if you made that plan seconds before doing the killing. So premeditated murder can still be something that you made in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's the possibility, Jesse, of something like...
No, I don't think officers are... Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jim.
We should have the investigation of whether it's first or second degree, because it's not, Jesse, it's not crazy to wonder if we've seen now the video of 11 days prior. Have we confirmed that none of the individuals weren't aware of Alex already, and that one of them approached him going, oh, I hope he gives me a reason? Because, I hope he gives me a reason would still be premeditation.
You're definitely right about that. I wouldn't doubt that was the case.
So it could be first or second degree murder in this scenario.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, but I mean, these officers, they're aware of the scrutiny they're going to have if they kill one of these protesters. They're aware of the shitstorm that's going to come down on them. So I believe that he was definitely in fear.
Do you think they're also aware of the $1 million GoFundMe, what's that place? Give, Send, Go campaigns given to a woman who said the N-word to a 5-year-old child, or the several $1,000s raised for Renee Good's murderer, or the glory that they get amongst their own people as they every day are talking in dehumanizing language about the people? Do you think they're aware of, like, you can say they're aware of the negative consequences, and you assume that they think that the positive consequences that others have gotten aren't more appealing, and these are people with 47 days of training that you're giving a badge and a gun with Eric Cartman level feelings of respect my authority.
And I would also just add, like,
I would disagree with you on that one.
They've been told by the Vice President of the United States that we've got your back. You have absolute immunity. And let's be real, they're not double checking that before they go out on the street. Like none of them have even really been subject to an investigation. Like ICE has been sending witnesses to the Whipple building specifically to withhold them from local authorities doing investigations on whether or not this was murder. Like, they've been hiding witnesses, taking evidence. They took Renee Good's car after that incident, and they did not share any of the evidence with local investigators. So there is a degree.
Yes, that was very fishy.
I live in Minneapolis, so like there's a degree to which they are covering this up, and the ICE agents who work here, they know that they're getting covered for. So it's kind of emboldening them to do more and more acts of violence.
Yeah.
Isn't ICE in Minneapolis prominently going after African fraudsters? Isn't that generally what they're going after over there?
So the experience that is happening here, because I live here, and they're taking anyone who they perceive as weak or that can be easily abused. So they're going after children, they're staking out schools, and when you see people in the area organizing, predominantly the method people are doing that with is because they see their kids getting harassed by ICE agents who are standing around this, like across the street, and we're driving around the block or showing up and trying to take kids. And so parents are stepping in and they're saying, I'm going to escort kids to make sure they're safe. I'm going to show up and make sure people know if ICE is here. Right. So they're going after kids, and they're going after parents who are picking up their kids. And none of this is at all justified by picking up Somali fraudsters, because the vast majority of Somali people here are U.S. citizens. They are legally U.S. citizens. They are the same kind of U.S. citizens as you or me, and they are entitled to all of the rights and protections. So the idea that they're here going after fraudsters is it's bullshit. And they're going after, you know, moms dropping their kids off of work. They abducted a 5-year-old child, like, and tried to use him as bait.
Legal citizens they're going after, are they?
That 5-year-old child is a legal U.S. citizen. Like,
was it the 5-year-old child because the father abandoned the child running from them?
They took that child from his father's car as he was driving his kid home from school. And then instead of giving him back to the family, they tried to use him as bait to try and take more of his family. And the thing that a lot of people don't get is it doesn't matter if his family were citizens or not, because once these people decide they're going to take you, they're going to take you. And they don't care if you have paperwork that shows you are in the U.S. legally. There are stories here of like ICE agents ripping people out of their cars, and then that car continues to roll down the street because the ICE agents don't even let the car get put into park. You know, that's on video multiple times. And there are people who are getting just taken off the street if they look like they're poor or they're black or brown because they have an accent. What I mean is that the Supreme Court of the United States has authorized them under the veil of reasonable suspicion to detain anyone that they think on any grounds might not be a citizen of the United States. And what that means here is that anyone who is talking with an accent, anyone who is black or brown, anyone who is visibly queer, they are just stopping and formulating a pretext to take them. And once they're taken, they get maybe beaten up. Maybe like people are being released out of the Whipple building into freezing cold temperatures that are sub-zero, that will give you frostbite and kill you.
I don't know what's the Whipple building? I don't know what that is.
The Whipple building is their main point of operations here in the Twin Cities. So it's okay. They have the building under their control, and they bring people back there and detain them there. And oftentimes the people that they're taking, they're not levying any charges against these people. They just take them, hold them for a day or two, and then release them, you know, again, often in very inhumane conditions. The people who have been held there report hearing screams at all hours of the day, report acts of physical violence, denial of medical care. Again, and that's for anyone that they take, right?
So what do you think their goal is? What is their end goal? What is their plan, do you think? Exactly.
I think their goal here is to engage in a terror campaign. I think they are here specifically to cause misery and fear and to make Minnesota an example. And they are here, in my mind, as somebody who lives here, in order to try and provoke a violent response that will justify the invocation of the Insurrection Act. I believe that is why they are here, and they believe that they could make Minnesotans riot with this type of behavior, because this level of reckless lawlessness that they are displaying. No, there were like 100,000 people out on the streets the other day, not a single window broken. Okay, the amount of restraint.
I saw a video of a hotel get demolished in Minneapolis.
There is no hotel that got demolished. And to the extent that any of these hotels have gotten any kind of property damage whatsoever, it is done by ICE, because they're shooting like flash grenades around. They shot a flash grenade into like underneath a car full of children the other day, disabling the car, and then they shot a smoke grenade into that car, and it almost killed a van full of kids, all legal citizens. Every single one of those children from 6 months old to 11 years old had to be taken to the hospital because they weren't able to breathe afterwards. And the baby had to get CPR on the scene from a neighbor bystander because ICE didn't give a fuck. They are here trying to kill people, and it's very obvious.
Also, I mean, when you say what is their goal, Jesse, I think Kristi Noem gave it away when she basically made the terms of pulling ICE out nothing to do with immigration. In fact, Jesse, I like to ask people if they're aware of things, and I have some numbers to go over with you in response to one of your questions earlier too. But Absolutely. What did Kristi Noem say would be the condition upon which they would withdraw ICE?
I don't know. I didn't see what she said about that.
She sent us a letter.
Right. You would hope that it is something like, if you open investigations into the fraud we're saying exists, if you get your own deportation numbers up to something like this, if it's actually about immigration. That's the if you would hope, and it still sucks because this isn't how you solve any quote unquote immigration crisis. It was, if you give us your voter rolls. The reason why they're there is a few things. I think what Jack just said is good. Also, to normalize the idea of a federal police force patrolling the U.S., for that to become old news. So as it expands out more places, we just become used to that the Gestapo is here and you just don't fuck with the Gestapo. And then the voter rolls thing is because they are trying to build narratives and create a world in which they can, it could be through the Insurrection Act, it could be through something else, essentially federalize the elections. The Constitution right now, in most cases, guarantees that the states are in charge of their elections. So to be sure that they never lose an election again, they intend to never have a fair one again. Not that we've had fair ones already, considering our current gerrymandered to hell system already, as well as voter suppression and everything else. So I think the answer to your question, Jesse, is their intention is what they're already telling you. We want to specifically send ICE and the National Guard to blue states. We want their voter rolls. If they don't want ICE there, we want their voter rolls. Like, I think they're telling you. Now, you brought up, aren't they getting rid of the people who committed fraud? So the Department of Homeland Security published a list of people that was their list of the worst of the worst. These are the people we've deported. And they only put out those numbers. They didn't put out the overall numbers other than those people. So if you had to guess, since Donald Trump became president, how many people do you think have been deported by ICE in Minnesota?
The last number I heard, in Minnesota only? I don't know, in Minnesota only. Yeah. That's the question I don't know.
So it's about 10,000. And it's 3,000 of those are since November. Yeah, 3,000 are since November. Now, of that 3,000 since November, how many people do you think were included on their list of the worst of the worst? This is who we're deporting because we're doing the job and we care about Americans. How many people of that 3,000 do you think were on the worst of the worst list?
Well, to be fair, I I believe all illegals should leave, regardless of whether or not they're a rapist
Jesse,
or murderer.
First of all, Jesse, we'll talk about that in a moment. You shouldn't call them illegals. You are an illegal also, Jesse, if we're going to go that way, because all they did was commit a civil... citizen. Yeah, and have you ever committed a civil or a legal violation? Have you ever sped? Have you ever...
Yes.
You ever... Great, then you're an illegal. Because all undocumented immigrants have ever done in common is commit a civil violation. And all you've done to deserve being an American citizen, for most American citizens, I don't know you specifically, are you a naturalized or were you born here, Jesse?
I was born here.
Great, so you've done nothing to earn being here. These are people who are mostly working hard and want to be here. The actual solution would be legalize everybody who isn't a felon quickly.
Yeah, I don't like that,
them worker protection.
I understand why you would.
You know, our economy runs on these people, so I don't know why you don't like that, but we'll get to that in a second. What would you guess of the 3,000? How many people would you guess made it to the worst of the worst list?
50.
That you're low. It was 212. Now, you said you thought they were getting rid of them for fraud. Of the 212, right? And so we've done over 3,000 people just since November for this fraud thing. The list is 212 of the worst people. These are people with convictions, and technically this is the 212 against the entire year, but we'll do the 212 against the 3,000 to make their numbers even better for them. We're being very generous. Of the 212, how many of those do you think were for fraud?
Of the 212, how many were for fraud? I would guess 0.
No, well, it could be. We don't know, because they actually didn't make fraud its own independent category. They put 45 people because they were convicted of either fraud, theft, illegal reentry, or trafficking. You know, those categories everybody puts together. It's practically peanut butter and jelly. Like, we literally don't know because they made such a broad category. If you committed fraud, you are in the human trafficking group. That's fucking crazy. But now they get to say with any of them, one fifth, or would that be a fourth? Okay, it's between a fifth and a fourth because it's 45. It's not a nice clean one. 1/4, we'll give them the better. 1/4 of those worst of the worst deportations were for in the child trafficking category, which may be fraud, or are in the fraud category. They can just change it, or in the theft, or on the illegal reentry. Which, what if it's literally 43 illegal reentries and that's all they did? And then it's 2 people who either did fraud or trafficking. Well, we don't know. But what we do know is of the 3,000 people, or the 10,000 since Trump took office, they could only come up with 212 people, which means 9,800 people, or 2,800, depending on which number you're wanting to do it against, are being sent for seemingly nothing. Just for being here, having overstayed a visa, or whatever else is the way that they are here legally, which the further north you go, the more the stats go up that it's overstaying a visa is what they did.
Well, I know you don't like that, but I'm for them deporting all the illegals.
Why?
I just feel that all immigrants should have the same way of getting in. The legal ones waited a long time.
I do too. But it's not their fault that America made that way terrible. So when you say you think they should have the same way of getting in, I agree, but we not on the way we have now. The way we have now is what is bad.
Better?
Well,
what country is better at accepting immigrants?
Just real quick, Jesse. Do you think you should be detained in a concentration camp and tortured for driving over the speed limit?
No, not for that.
Okay. So they're doing the exact same level of criminal violation that you do when you drive over the speed limit. And they're being detained en masse and kept in concentration camps where ICE hasn't paid for any medical care inside of their facilities since October. And they're not going to resume processing those until later this year in April, at the end of April. And things have gotten so bad that when immigration lawyers are visiting some of these facilities, they're hearing mothers and children screaming for freedom and screaming about their conditions and their torture. Does this seem like something that is on par with the level of violation that they have committed? Like on par with a speeding ticket?
No, well, I'll ask you this.
So wait. So your answer is no. So my question is, if a speeding ticket can be taken care of by paying a fine and filling out some paperwork, why can't this problem be taken care of by paying a fine and filling out some paperwork?
Why do we need
to spend billions of dollars holding people in torture camps that are run by private corporations and run at a profit in order to punish these people when we could simply replace that entire process? This entire process where people in my community are afraid their kids are going to be mistaken for an undocumented kid and taken from them and disappeared into a system, where people in my community are afraid to walk down the street by themselves because ICE might pull up and pull them into a van. Why?
Yeah, I like that idea of paying a fine. What's your number? What's your number for the fine?
I don't know. What's the number for a speeding ticket where you are?
Oh, it'd have to be at least the price of 50 speeding tickets.
Why?
To illegally come to this country and evade court dates and all that stuff.
Do you think you should be charged? Do you think you should be charged 50 times what the normal speeding ticket if you get caught speeding?
You also just added to the goalpost.
Maybe
We're talking
20
about
times.
the base.
Maybe 20 times.
Why?
You moved the goalpost immediately too. We were just going with, you are here and you've either overstayed, you're here illegally, and you're like, you're here and you're evading court dates and you're doing like you're adding elements to it at the base level. Why? And when you're going through a correction like we need to go through, you don't do that as part of the correction. You go, we fucked it up, so now we're going to make it. If you don't have a crime, you can get a working visa and like a I'm here with my family visa and whatever else. And the citizenship process is way easier because that's supposed to be the promise of our country. But you haven't like justified any of this. You did ask a minute ago, which country does it better? Pretty much all of them. What percentage of our immigrants do you believe are undocumented?
Well, I don't think that number can be accurately known, but if I had to guess, I'd say maybe 30 to 40%.
Yeah, it's 22%. And that number can be pretty accurately generated. Do you think like we can't guess the populations of areas based on like electricity consumption, utility consumption? Yes, and you can guess pretty accurately. So whatever the margin of error is in, it won't be up to the 30 to 40% you said. It's going to be close to 22%. It won't be exactly 22, but it's going to be close. Germany has very robust immigration. Their undocumented population is 4%. France, 3%. Netherlands, 2%. United Kingdom is the next one that's like kind of high, and that's at 7% because their processes are not so inhibitive to people who want to be there to either work or support their family that's there working. So for us, it should literally be if you don't have a felony level crime and you have a job, automatically we're going to forget about the fines because we were kind of a dick. Once we get everything fixed, sure, here's the process for the future, but we were the dicks here. We were the problem. But everybody who's here supporting the economy, paying more into the government than they are taking back in benefits by a lot, committing crimes at a lower rate than local citizens.
They get a discount on the fine.
Excuse me, what?
Those guys that pay more than they take back, they get a discount on the fine.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite. Immigrants, undocumented immigrants as a whole take less than they pay in, often taking nothing but paying in.
So in this circumstance, they should be paying less than the fine you are paying when you speed. Like, if we want to make this, make this equivalent, they don't get any of the benefits that you get from paying into this system. And so as a result, they contribute more to our national ability to do things than a lot of other folks who are full citizens and entitled to the full benefits. And so in this case, if we're trying to make this proportional, they should be paying less of a fine than you do when you speed and endanger others on the road, right?
I disagree with that, but I understand the argument you're making.
Okay,
Which
I'm glad
is
you
code
understand
for
it.
factually yours is supported, but I want to stick to my feelings. Like that's what it that's what it is. That's how you feel.
Well, I just don't think speeding is worse than illegally coming to a country and not
it is.
doing
Most people who are here in an undocumented manner are in no way threatening the life of another person. Speeding threatens the life of other people. People die every day because someone thought it was safe to speed. So it's actually more dangerous than most undocumented immigration. The people we are deporting are people who are just people. They're not the animals invading and ruining the blood of America that Donald Trump wants to say.
Also, do you think the purpose of ICE? Do you think the purpose of ICE is to deport people?
Well, what's different from Trump's ICE and Obama's ICE? Is the training different?
Yes.
It is.
Correct.
Well, because Obama was very productive.
What did Obama? Wait. Yes, Obama deported a lot of people. I'm not an Obama fan, but what was Obama's statement on how active ICE was back then? What did Obama say?
I have no idea.
Cool. He said almost. I could almost get it word for word. I'll summarize it to make it shorter. Congress has not passed laws to reform immigration as they should, so we reluctantly are legally required to enforce the immigration laws. Because back then, the country understood that the president doesn't make laws. He literally gave examples and said, this is going to result in deportations and stories that are going to break our hearts, and Congress needs to change the immigration laws. So even as you want to go like, what's different? Obviously, Donald Trump has supercharged it. They're paying out $100,000 between your starter bonus and your later bonus to these people with 47 days of training. Some of them are Proud Boys. Some of them are January 6th insurrectionists. They are overtly authoritarian, with a video coming out just yesterday of an ICE guy telling a protester, if you raise your voice, I'll erase your voice. So yeah, tact would be different. How empowered they would be different. But yes, those deportations that happened under Obama and under Biden were bad and excessive too, because Congress won't act because they're a bunch of bitches.
But we didn't hear about it back then. It was
no,
socially
you didn't hear about it
buried.
back then, Jesse. You didn't hear about it back then.
I didn't, and I'm very politically awakened.
And Obama wasn't going up there and going, we're going to send ICE after these animals, and you can't bring guns to protest. You can't. He wasn't, while his administration and the Congress was being rather authoritarian, he wasn't out doing what Trump was doing. He wasn't out on top of deporting people, attacking citizens. He wasn't out there trying to get voter rolls in exchange for withdrawing ICE, trying to undermine our elections, trying to get us used to the idea of a police force on the streets all the time in full military gear. There's quite a bit different. And what you just engaged in was a fallacy called whataboutism. Basically, just because what Obama did was wrong, we can't time travel and fix that. Americans were also worse back then because it's the same thing with like Gaza and Israel. The same reason we didn't hear about that shit before, even though it's been going on for fucking decades. Well, we didn't have smartphones documenting it and making sure that you see it. And Americans mostly are content with any issue they don't see. That doesn't mean they were in the right then to not care about people they should have cared about. And now you can't avoid it. There's no way the Nazis cannot see what's happening. And so we should do something about it now and stop doing nothing under the guise of, well, not enough was done under Obama. Great. Not enough was done under Obama. If you want, go ahead and put him in prison for it. I won't lose a wink of sleep because he should be in prison for stuff anyway. Let's go ahead and fix it now and also stop the rise of authoritarianism in this country.
So how would we get illegals to leave without ICE?
We should
have to pay them, incentivize them?
So first of all, do you think ICE's purpose is to deport people?
I'm sorry?
Do you think ICE's purpose is to deport people?
That should be one of the big ones, yes.
Okay, so how do you feel about the fact that the Trump administration, in the one big beautiful bill that they passed, capped the number of immigration judges that actually process these people for deportation from that to 800?
So you both go ahead. I'm
so
sorry.
They capped the number of immigration judges to 800. And how deep do you think the immigration backlog is right now? Like, how long would it take 800 of them?
30 years long to deport 10 million people. It'd take 30 years, would be my guess.
Just with the people they have in custody right now.
Yeah, I don't think giving them a court date is going to expedite the process.
No, but the main bottleneck for deporting people in this country is immigration judges. When you have only 800 of them, it makes it take longer for these cases to process. And if we had 1,300 of them, it would still take 10 years to process many of the cases that are in front of immigration judges right now. That's not counting the additional people they're trying to round up right now. That's just who they have in custody right now. Do you think that you should be arrested and kept in a concentration camp for 10 years and more?
No, just deported. Instant deportation.
So, but that's the point. The point is, you think ICE is designed to do this thing, and it's not designed to do that. It's designed to hold people in concentration camps and torture them. And what I'm trying to tell you is that we have another way to deal with this, which is just issuing some paperwork and having them pay a fine. And they would pay that, and we know that, because they already pay their fines. They already show up to their court dates. The only reason they're not showing up to their court dates and check-ins with ICE right now is because ICE is taking the people who bother to show up. The ICE is not here to get people who are breaking the law. They're here to do an ethnic cleansing operation. And that's exactly what they're doing.
That's quite the statement.
It's true.
It's true. Jesse,
it's true. They thought that they could send ICE agents to Minnesota, and us white people in Minnesota would greet them as like conquering heroes, saving us from the hordes of black and brown people. And they were fucking wrong, because those people are our neighbors. Illegals? Those people are our neighbors, and we're going to stand up and fight for our neighbors because it's the right thing to do. And you guys can't understand that. You're sitting here telling us you think it's fine for these people to be tortured in concentration camps for the same level of violation you commit almost every day when you go like a mile or two over the speed limit. We disagree
on the severity of the violation.
Well, let's blow up their entire lives.
Jesse, you want instant deportation of anyone who's here illegally until you get it. Because first of all, that would collapse our economy. You can't just get rid of that many people that our economy is built on. And so, but also, Jesse, we are still here with they're in the place they're not supposed to be is the worst you can say they are. And that's just a matter of essentially because I feel more entitled to this. Most of these people are here and have worked harder to be here and deserve to be here more than you. You only deserve to be here as by your own admission. Jesse, the only thing that grants you any amount of deserving to be here is you happen to have been born here. And so when you ask your question, well, then how do we get all the illegals out? Why would you think our answer would be anything that does that? First of all, they're not illegals any more than you are. It's a dumb, dehumanizing word you use to try and make it easier. It bastardizes them immediately to they committed a civil violation. They're illegals makes them sound like a problem group, but you commit crimes all the time, you said yourself. So you are also an illegal. You're just not illegally present in the United States of America.
And can I ask, you seem to get a little upset, Jesse, when I mentioned that this is an ethnic cleansing operation. Can you explain to me why the DHS is posting recruitment material for ICE, touting 100 million people being deported from the United States?
I don't know, but I believe 30% of ICE is of Latino descent, and they're
Do you
trying to
know
capture.
approximately how many non-white people there are in the United States, Jesse?
How many non-white people?
Yeah.
Well, define white.
As a white supremacist would.
So both parents being of European descent?
Sure.
From the Caucasus Mountains.
I would say it's about 52%, roughly, give or take 3 or 4%.
The number of non-white people in the United States, according to our census data, is around 100 million people, Jesse. So when the Department of Homeland Security is posting recruitment material touting how they want to remove 100 million people from the United States, not 100 million undocumented people, not 100 million people who have broken the law, 100 million people, what they're doing is they are signaling that the purpose of this is an ethnic cleansing. It's why they use white nationalist music in their recruitment posts these days. It's why they are using white nationalist imagery when they post their recruitment material these days. It is not on, like, in any way the purpose of ICE right now to take and deport people. They purposely capped the number of people that process folks through these facilities. What they're doing right now is they are amassing concentration camps full of people who are non-white that they can torture, and so that they can give huge checks to their rich corporate friends who run these concentration camps. And eventually, something even more tragic is going to happen if we allow these systems to fester. And the problem is, I think you've been taken in as a sap, because you've been fed these lines that, like, oh, these people who, again, have done the equivalent of a speeding ticket by being here deserve that, or deserve a method that effectively, even if they've been here for 30 years without committing any crimes, that their lives should be blown up and their communities should be suffering their absence. Their children should be punished by taking their father away. And, like, you would never make that argument for someone who has a speeding ticket. But you've been fed this line of bullshit, and it's really sad. And I hope you come around to seeing things how they are, because this is, like, we're living in Minneapolis. Like,
yeah,
I'm worried when my partner goes to work, she's a U.S. citizen. I'm worried that when my partner goes to work, she's not going to be coming home. You know, my partner's dad called and said, I'm going to bring I'm going to bring her to work because I'm armed. That's the situation here in Minneapolis.
No offense,
not to keep us safe,
not
to keep us safe, Jesse, from the roving hordes of fraudulent Somalis. No. It's to keep us safe from ICE.
Wasn't that what triggered Trump sending in ICE? Was all that fraud with the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis?
No, that was the framework.
The timing was immaculate.
That was the no. The timing wasn't immaculate. The fraud was already being investigated. Minnesota already had it handled. They had already convicted many people, and they were already investigating. And by the way, that video that set the whole thing off is under basically the premise of the video is, I showed up to a care center during hours that they aren't open and no one was there. This must be more Somalian fraud.
Or even,
I took a deep dive into that, and I got to agree with Nick Shirley on that one.
No, I live in Minneapolis. I've seen kids at those daycares. I've seen parents dropping off their kids, picking up their kids from these places. Okay? The idea that, like, you think in your world, you think a random adult man with several men in ski masks standing behind him who comes up to a daycare center, even if it's during their operating hours, and knocks on the door and demands to see children, you think that's a sign of fraud when the daycare says, we're not going to let some random man look at the kids here? Would you send your kids to a daycare where they let random men off the street into the daycare to look at your kid? No.
Jesse,
you think this is compelling evidence?
I have two more questions for you, Jesse. I have two more.
Sure.
One of them They're both, and then we're going to move on here. First, what do you reckon? Okay. Just if you had to guess, what do you think Nick Shirley's IQ is?
His IQ, I bet it's hovering around 100.
Okay. And did we change? Was there a meeting where we changed what hover
He definitely has a speech issue.
Oh, yeah. It's a speech issue. I hear you. I grew up Mormon. I recognize the speech issue. It's called being stupid. Okay. Second, you told nice. I don't mean to be nice to that fascist enabling piece of little shit. That dude is a fucking dog shit person. I hope he moves away. I hope he moves to one of the countries that he thinks is running it well. He gets the white supremacist world he wants, but I'm sure he only is interested in doing that in Utah. Anyway, Jesse, you told our screener that you are pro. Utah? Well, no, he's Mormon though, and Mormons think that Utah is basically New Jerusalem. That's where Zion is going to be. Jesus is going to stop off. He's going to touch down in Jerusalem and then fuck off over to Salt Lake City and operate out of the temple. Yeah. Jesse,
I myself am an atheist.
Well, that's not a redeeming quality because you aren't a skeptic. But Jesse, you told our screener that you are pro Andrew Wilson, and so I'm just curious, what's your favorite quality?
I was hoping that wasn't going to trigger you, but yeah, I am a fan of Andrew Wilson. Yes.
What's your favorite quality of his?
His favorite quality?
Your favorite quality of Andrew Wilson?
Well, he's not afraid to be called a bigot. That's for sure. He's very.
That's your favorite quality.
Very.
Jesse.
No.
Damn.
How many bigots
I would say his. I'm sorry?
How many bigots are afraid to become? If anything, he relishes in it. He has the same weird, like, kink that Milo Yiannopoulos has. But, Jesse, on a scale of 1 to 10, how high would you rate of charming? How charming would you find, you say, Andrew Wilson's smile is on a scale of 1 to 10?
His smile? How charming is it? Well, I'm not usually charmed by a man's smile, but I'd say maybe a 2 or a 3. Not very charming.
Okay, yeah, at least we got something we can agree on. I mean, I wouldn't give it a 2 or a 3, but all right. Well, thank you, Jesse. We're going to move on. Thanks.
See ya.
Okay.
See you later. What happened to the guy who was going to tell us we don't understand civics?
I don't know. He just got scared.
Did Jesse literally immediately call back? Why is Jesse back on the line? It's weird. Oh, he hung up. Okay. So you screened him and then he just got scared? Was he just like, hi, I'm not Nathan or Billy and I'm calling sir to sir?
I got through screening and added him to the queue and then he just immediately hung up.
Probably knew what was going to happen, I guess. Okay. Ben in Georgia. Ben the Libertarian, how old are you?
I am 27 going on 28.
How are you talking into your phone right now? Like speakerphone or what's the deal? You're pretty quiet. Can you get your mic closer to your mouth?
Is that better?
It doesn't sound really any different. You're 27 going on 28, 27 and 3 quarters, or something like that. And we've got right now, let me actually take a look. How many people are in our live stream right now? We have about 1,700 people watching live, and some of them are going to chat. And undoubtedly, they'll refer to me as a he. They'll refer to Jack as a she. When they refer to you in the live chat, how would you prefer to be referred to as?
I don't know, a little fat, a little gay. I don't know.
Yeah, but which pronoun would you like?
They can call me whatever they want.
So you're content with honestly, he, she, or they? Or would you prefer he, for example? It's not a trick question.
Honestly.
Okay.
I'm being serious.
Progressive gender fluid situation.
Hey, go off, girl.
Actually, yes.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Believe it or not, yeah.
Can you say trans rights are human rights, please?
Trans rights are human rights, actually.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was going to say brother, but I don't know for sure that would be welcome.
On your definition. Depends on your definition of trans rights.
Damn, we were going so far ahead. Would you like to stay on that topic? Because all you're calling in is to say that we're wrong about concentration camps. We can do that, but I'm interested in what our definition of trans rights and human rights are. I must say I'm more titillated for the new topic than the old one.
Okay, my stance is like super, super simple, and I think it's a good compromise, right? Just
that'll be
let
good for
people
Nick Shirley.
transition, leave them alone. Yeah, okay, stop. I don't like him being Mormon and all that, but he's been doing some good stuff, and I'm happy that he's out in the world and kind of.
All bad stuff. I love that you have to specify. I'm not happy as Mormon and shit, but that thing that is absolutely core to what his values are and why he's doing this, I'm not happy about that, but I'm happy about the product of it. But anyway, go on. I like that you're keeping it super simple so Nick Shirley can follow, is what I was saying. Go on.
I know, right? So let people transition, leave people the hell alone, right? But don't let people transition or get the surgeries until they're 18. Just let them decide, but don't let them do it when they're a minor. You can't get a tattoo when you're a minor. You can't drink when you're a minor.
Can I get a gallbladder removed when I'm a minor?
To drive.
Can I get a gallbladder removed when I'm a minor?
If it's required, yeah. Because
so if something falls in the category, it happened to me. I had my gallbladder removed when I was 17. So if something is, and don't worry, I won't just explain the whole episode, but I just want to know, separate of trans care, if it is established that care of any kind is medical care that is either necessary or will lead to a dramatic improvement of an individual's life, that should not be withheld from minors. Again, taking trans out of it just broadly, you should not withhold from minors like fixing, improving, and saving care from minors.
I have a lot of trans friends. I hate to say like that because like,
we're not talking about trans right now. We're not talking about trans. We're not talking about trans right now. We'll get there in a minute. Right now, we're just talking about broadly.
Yeah.
Should medical care be given to minors if it is determined that is going to be a significant improvement to their life or life-saving?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's a loaded question. It's BS, and I'll explain why.
Can you think why?
Because the proper life-saving care for somebody who's young and trans, first of all, should be mental health care.
We're not talking about trans yet. We were going to talk
trans suicide. Ben, self-esteem. Self-esteem is a huge factor.
Ben. We would talk about after whether or not, if after you had answered the question in good faith, you then disagreed that that's what trans healthcare is, that would have been the point to make it. But establishing that our difference here isn't actually about whether or not minors deserve care. It's about whether or not trans care should count as that kind of care. Would have been a very useful place to take the conversation. But you've been learning to debate from people like Nick Shirley, where you're trying to get ahead and assume that because your side has to act in bad faith, surely bad faith is what you were about to receive. Now, since we're on the trans issue and this is enough cis opinion, honestly, I'm gonna go grab a snack even and let you and Jack talk about whether or not trans children deserve care.
Hell yeah.
They deserve care.
Okay, so like if they deserve care, why do you make a distinction here?
Because the main distinction is that mental health care, right, does not leave permanent, irreversible effects on the physical body. Well, unless it's like Alice, Returns, where it's like brainwashing and hypnotism and horrible stuff like that, right? One of my favorite games.
Hell yeah.
But you see so honestly, like I said, gender affirming care is multifaceted. The most important part that most people overlook, especially when it comes to the arguments, is the mental health aspect of it. And believe it or not, most trans people and most people that have gender dysphoria,
are you trying to argue that children aren't getting proper mental care when they also get like other interventions too?
Yeah, because they're jumping the gun on the whole hormonal therapy stuff, and it's more like a self-esteem issue, and it's more of a bullying issue.
Can I ask what you think the process is for these kids to get like hormone therapy or puberty blockers? Like, what do you think the process is?
It doesn't matter what the process is. They shouldn't have it. They shouldn't have access to it till they're 18.
Well, medical professionals agree that it is beneficial. So why do you think it's not?
Why do I think it's not? Because,
Yeah.
well, first of all, again, there's a lot of people, and I don't want to hear that it doesn't exist, because you're saying there's concentration camps in this country when they're not being killed in camps. So that's a lie. It's
well,
also
eight
a
people
lie
have died in
that-
detention so far this year.
Cause of death?
Yeah, there's one that's being investigated as a straight up murder. But again, we're getting far afield. We can get to that later, of course, but like let's stay on the trans issue.
Prison guards are freaking scumbags, and they beat prisoners to death all the time. Like that's just a prison issue.
But okay, let's get to that later. I want to stay on the trans issue for now. So
yeah,
like
sorry.
like when we're talking about like trans kids, what the process is, right? Is a kid comes to their parents and they're like, "Mom, Dad, I think I'm trans." And then the parents are like, "Well, okay." And they go to their general provider, their main doctor that they have for their kid, and they talk about it. They talk about it with the doctor, and then the doctor's like, "Okay, well, maybe like this kid is like 7 or 8." And they're like, "Well, let's just see like where this goes." And what ends up happening is that doctor makes note that this happened in their file. And then as the kid comes back in over the years, they make additional notes about whether or not this identity persists, right? And so if they find, for example, that this kid has developed a stronger attachment to this gender identity over time and is consistent in that, when they start to begin to go through puberty, then that's when the question of puberty blockers comes up. And so that will then entail going to like a gender specialist who then does an additional assessment about this and takes into account, the previous history. And if there is no previous history at this point, then they will prescribe puberty blockers and still do, frequent check-ins to make sure that this is a persistent gender identity. Because what we know about puberty blockers is that there are no long-term ill effects of being on puberty blockers. And we know that because we give them to cisgender kids all the time. Like all the time.
We also give them, or used to give them to sex offenders in the 1950s to render them sterile.
Yeah, but we give them to children right now. Like we do that
good,
right now. Yeah, for things like precocious puberty, it's great. And there's no long-term ill effects for those kids. They stop taking the like puberty suppressing drugs and then they go through puberty as normal. That's how that works. It's like if a 6-year-old goes through puberty, that's extraordinarily bad for their body. It can cause problems that can kill them. And so we give these drugs,
yes, of course, but that's more of a genetic disorder. That's going to be corrected with the medication. Yeah.
But the issue you're running into and what you're trying to kind of throw some mud at is the use of these drugs, which we have a long and documented use of that have no ill effects. They don't have bad effects for kids who are on them at 6 years old to prevent that precocious puberty. And what happens is they stop taking them and then they go through puberty as normal. And it's the same principle for trans kids, right? And the reason puberty blockers
after taking these medications,
wait. The reason the puberty blockers are prescribed is so that the medical professionals and the mental health professionals have a chance to assess the child and understand whether or not this type of care is in the child's best interest, right? And so what ends up happening is if there is a consistent identity while on puberty blockers, because they continue that assessment for years, then they go, okay, well, you either are getting off of puberty blockers and going through puberty as normal, or you are starting HRT and you go through puberty as normal. Like that's what puberty blockers are for. HRT, all that does is give you a puberty. That's it. And we know this also because there are kids who are born who don't have the full range of puberty hormones. And so if, for example, a cis boy doesn't have like high enough testosterone levels, doctors will prescribe that cis boy with testosterone. Like no questions asked, by the way, from folks who think that kids shouldn't be given HRT. And it is interesting to me that the problem seems to be that all of these healthcare interventions that help trans youth are used on cisgender people routinely and cisgender kids routinely without any kind of objection. But when it's a trans kid, suddenly it becomes objectionable. And all the medical science we have, all of the data indicates that these types of medical interventions are useful, are valuable, they save lives, they improve the health and mental wellness outcomes for these kids who then become adults. And
is this supposed to be a debate or a speech?
Well, the issue is I just walked you through the process. So which part of that do you have a problem with?
Well, the fact that it's not true that there are no there is not true there are no adverse effects from this medication. It's not true that there's no adverse effects. Where do you get this from?
Wait, but the issue
what about
is
all the people that regret transitioning and then now they're rendered sterile. You're forgetting about all the people rendered sterile. Oh my goodness!
How many people is
don't
it?
even get me started on the mastectomy surgeries.
Wait. How many? Like, what do you think the regret rate is for transitioning? For like gender affirming care?
More than.
What do you think it is?
Anything over 0 is bad.
Wait, so just as an FYI, what do you think the regret rate is for open heart transplants?
The fact that you're equating like
just answer the question
versus something that's actually going to kill you.
Answer the question.
Because here's the deal, right?
No, answer the question. What do you think the regret rate is for an open heart transplant?
Well,
something that will literally save your life.
Ben, you've already shown that. Like at this point, Jack's my guest, so I don't want to stop her from doing what she wants to do. But you called in with questions and wanting to allegedly engage in a conversation, and then showed you weren't actually listening with your whole,
I was listening.
Was this going to be a speech or was this going to be, it is going to be as long as we feel we need to make a point. You called us, asswipe. So as you're sitting there and if you want to continue, you need to either participate by answering the actual questions and stop doing what I already said you were doing before. I'm going to try to get ahead of this and engage in bad faith. If you would answer the question, and then we get to a point where you think you have a good point for why they're different, you get to make it then. But avoiding the question and trying to get ahead of it.
A bad faith answer.
It wasn't a bad faith question. Sir, you've been operating in bad faith the entire time. I literally showed you that at the beginning. You didn't even disagree. You're trying to get ahead of it, and you're doing poorly. And I'm not going to get a lecture from bad faith on the guy who went, is this a discussion or is it going to be a lecture? Or did you say debate? Whichever one you said.
See, this is what you do. You resort to belittling.
And dropping people when they get whiny.
I mean, it's a simple question. The regret rate, by the way, is like something around like 65% for open heart surgeries. The regret rate for people who transition is like, I don't know, like 5% maybe. And that's me being extraordinarily generous. And like, it saves lives. You know, I shouldn't have to get to a point where I feel like I need to make a choice between, transitioning or ending my life. We shouldn't be putting children in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny how it's always like, well, any number above 0 was what he was. That was like the guy who was lecturing us on bad faith was going to make any number above 0. So what you're saying is the small number of people who probably got bad information that actually, if you fix the system and expand education, that number will get even closer and closer to 0, but it's already pretty close to 0.
Oh, sorry. I misspoke. The positive outcomes, people who do not regret transitioning, that number's like 97.
And that's that's kind of where I was getting at. Like you've got the tiny level of regret rate, and you're saying because they exist, the regret of all of the people, the distress, the enhanced dysphoria of the remaining over 90% of people whose lives are being saved by this, they should now be condemned to a life of, we're not just talking regret, we're talking like hating to be alive, the extreme depression, all the things that come with living in a society that does not support who you are. Like you're sitting there and going any number above 0. Like, right, yeah. We should, to save those 2 people, we should say fuck off to the other 98. We should make their outcomes terrible because 2 people might. And by the way, even the way anybody ever measures regret, if a person just decides not to do hormone blockers in the future, in many of the studies that these people quote, that's automatically counted as a regret. And for a lot of people, a puberty blocker is a pause. It's like part of the whole thing is like pause, think about it. Here's that pause moment. And one of the options is you might realize that actually there's some other thing you want to approach. There's some other thing that you want to figure out about yourself, and that being trans isn't the thing for you. That isn't what's going on. One of the options with puberty blockers is finding out if you're trans or not. And they're obviously going to come with anybody who says after they've started, actually, I think I'm not trans, I'm going to go ahead and go through puberty. Well, that's clearly a regret. That's clearly it.
Yep.
Anyway, I like when people think they're going to win on the like, see, this is what you do. I insist on the callers remaining. You were met with politeness when you first acted in bad faith. I explained to you what was bad faith about it. When you then tried to return to more bad faith tactics, it was attempted to be explained to you again. And then you got to be a dick about it. And no one, I am professionally a dick to dicks, but I am polite to those who are polite. And I even gave you multiple chances to engage in good faith. Oh, is that the same? Yeah, Daniel. And it's pointless call. When you get the better of them, they call you an asshole and hit mute. It's not good faith conversation is what Daniel's trying to say in chat. Is you getting the better of us in the room with us right now? What point do you think you won on? It was literally that you were rude to Jack. Jack would explain something to you that you fundamentally did not understand. After it was already explained to you to not act in bad faith, and you basically broke the balance of the conversation with your little whiny injection. Anyway,
well.
Daniel, best of luck. You can try another day. Nate in West Virginia, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jack. How are you, Nate?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Just fine. And Nate, how old are you?
Let's just leave it at 20.
Okay.
Nate, you're calling from West Virginia. If you're worried that anyway, we're not going to be able to find you more because you tell us the exact year. Nate, did you vote in the 2024 election?
No, I didn't. I would have, but didn't have the ability to.
So you were ineligible. If you could have voted,
yeah.
Which I think means he's 19. But anyway, if you could have voted, Nate, who would you have voted for? Trump or Harris? Or would you have not?
Well, I would have voted for Trump. But
yeah. And Nate,
I don't really.
We got about 1,700 people watching live. They do have a little live chat over there. They refer to me as a he. They refer to Jack as a she. Would you prefer they refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else when they're talking about you?
He would be fine.
Excellent. All right. Cool. Very easy, and we move on. All right, go ahead. What point did you call in wanting to make?
I just came in to talk.
Okay.
I've been watching for a little bit, seeing that like you guys seem to think that the trans stuff is a good thing, and that ICE
Indeed.
and all that stuff is a piece of crap, you know.
True. Yeah, trans stuff
accurate, doesn't it?
Trans care is good for trans people. ICE are bad. Yeah. You got it.
Just FYI, I am watching your live stream on my computer right in front of me.
Cool. I would ignore it mostly if I was you.
Yeah, probably a good thing, but I don't think Trump is great. No.
What's your least favorite thing about him?
I don't really know. It's more like I think he's been getting bad advice from his advisors and a couple other things.
Has there ever been a period of time where
Of
you'd
course,
say
the
he's
Epstein
doing
files
well?
need to be released. So yeah.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Is
I
there a
didn't catch
period
that.
in the first term? Did you think he was a good or a bad president?
I'm not sure. He seemed like a pretty good president, but yeah.
So you think maybe the change in the advisors is what's the problem?
I'm not too sure because I don't really follow Trump all that much because,
Well, you said you think his advisors are steering him poorly, right? But in the first term, you think he was doing a better job, right?
Yeah, there was
Do you know what the difference in the advisors are now?
Not really.
Yeah, I'd like to explain it to you if you got a second. It won't take long.
Sure.
First term, Donald Trump was surrounded by people that the Republican National Committee mostly put into place. They were people who was a mix of like his people and then like people who have been there. So they understand the inner workings of the country. They understand like, here are the things we still have to do. Here are the lines we never cross. Here are the things we don't go on TV and say like, well, what if we wanted to use nukes? Why can't we use nukes? We don't do that. We try and at least appear to be for the people and not expressly for the billionaires. Donald Trump hated those guys, and a lot of them turned on him after he lost office and basically said, just so you know, we were basically just trying to be adults in the room and stop him from the chaos that he wanted to. Like, he is a chaotic man. And and so that was his first term advisors were like institutional people who actually knew how government worked. His second term are sycophants. And I don't think he would even disagree. He'd be like, I like that term sycophants because it sounds like sing. Donald Trump wouldn't even disagree with that. He got people who the first priority is loyalty to him. So it doesn't matter that they have crackpot theories of the economy, as Peter Navarro has. It doesn't matter that they believe the DOJ should serve the interest of the president instead of the country, as Pam Bondi does. It doesn't matter that they believe in authoritarian, total ruling power of the presidency, unchecked by the other checks that are supposed to be there, the Congress, the Supreme Court, as Stephen Miller does. What matters is that they are loyal to him. And if he says something, even if it's untrue, they go and figure out a way to spin it as true. That's your difference in the advisors. And that's not me saying the people in the first term were good. I fucking hated those guys. They were terrible, but they were a different kind of terrible, a less authoritarian kind of terrible. They were fascist light, whereas this is original fascist. Same old fascist taste.
My question for you is, what do you think fascism is?
I don't worry about what I think it is. Fascism is a thing.
All right.
And I don't differ from the standard. I don't differ from the standard definition. Authoritarian dictatorship marked by ultranationalism and government control of private property, essentially. I mean, you can expand out from there, but it's a dictatorial, authoritarian, ultranationalist system where the government picks who wins and who loses, and it's often marked by things like ethnic cleansing, as we're doing now. The government choosing which companies are going to be the winners. I think have you been watching the show, Nate?
Oh, about half an hour.
Okay.
Maybe 45 minutes.
The current deportation racket is an ethnic cleansing scheme.
How about?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How? How is it?
I thought you said how by.
Whenever we're not only deporting Mexicans, if that's what you think, and not only Somalians.
The administration is openly stating that the goal is to deport all non-white people. It's in their recruitment that is geared towards white nationalists.
Yeah, and not to mention they're upholding policies and laws about profiling. So it is now legal to pull somebody over on the basis that they quote unquote look illegal or sound illegal. What does that mean? What does it mean? My mother, for example, was an illegal immigrant for most of her time. She's a citizen now, but most of her time in the country when I was growing up. She doesn't sound American. She sounds British. And yet never was there a threat of anything. So I wonder what do you think it means if the policy is that you can basically demand proof of citizenship from someone who looks illegal? What do you reckon that is? What does it look? How does one look illegal?
Shoot. I guess I can see your point there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, though. If I were a nice Haitian, not saying I am,
Mm-hmm.
I would still
Are
ask
you?
for documentation. I'm not.
Okay. Does the
I'm not a
Constitution?
nice Haitian.
So what if you walked up and you asked somebody for documentation and they said, fuck off, eat my actual ass? What should happen to them?
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, I'm going to need
it
you to
really
answer that question
depends.
because this is pivotal. Does ICE have a right to ask me for documentation, Nate?
Well, I'd assume.
Why?
Like, I mean, it's like if a cop walks up to you and asks, "Hey, can I see your driver's license?"
Right. If they do that apropos of nothing, am I allowed to say, no, fuck off, piggy, eat my actual ass, it's ass flavored?
Well, you're allowed to, but it'd be stupid.
Why?
Now,
Because you fear they might violate my rights if I said that? And then I would be partially
let's see
responsible for
here.
the crime they commit?
The answer is no. Like, you don't need to give them stuff, but it's the better idea too. Because
Why?
if you don't, they might shoot you.
Okay, got
Yeah.
you. So you are admitting, and you're saying you don't, like, you, a moment ago, it seems like you were going to say that we don't live in a fascist country or that this isn't fascism. But I believe you've just said it would be better to comply with law enforcement because if you don't, they might violate your rights and execute you.
Yeah, because, well, if it's
Now,
rather,
what would a
I'd rather be
fascist
alive than
police
be-
force look like to you?
Well, let's go back to the most fascist people we've ever had, which were the
Mm-hmm.
1930s German, the Nazis,
Mhm.
of course, like the Gestapo and whatnot.
Right.
Well,
Killing people.
Let's look here.
Sure.
Deportation, execution.
What is it, a numbers game? You're like, you might get killed, but it won't be you and 6 million of your church friends. Like, what is it you think? You just said you should comply with law enforcement's illegal request. Actually, they can ask all they want. If they tell you you must without a crime, they have violated your rights. So you've said, let them violate your rights so they don't violate other rights more out of fear that they will kill you. What do you think made the Nazis scary? I think it might have been the fear that if you don't comply, they'll kill you.
Yeah. Well,
and if you're a Jew and you do comply, they'll kill you anyway. If you're a communist and you do comply, they'll kill you anyway. If you're a socialist and you comply, they'll kill you anyway, despite Elon Musk insisting that they were socialists. Really weird, all the socialists in those concentration camps. Anyway, do go on about how much better we are than the Nazis.
We are.
Yeah. Better mustaches.
True.
Hitler's stash was cap. Straight up. Ratchet.
The thing with it is that if you comply with an illegal order and then if you go to court and say, hey, this was an illegal order.
You didn't say it was you didn't say comply with an illegal order. You said comply with their request even. Like, just don't turn them down because they might kill you. That was your fear. The threat was don't even offer a no. They might kill you if you don't do what you say. What is different between that and authority? Is what you just described an authoritarian police force or not?
Let me think about this just for like 2 seconds.
Okay. Trump's America.
Yeah, well, you're. Yeah, I guess I can see why you think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to explain comprehensively why you don't. Jack, how are we doing on your time?
Oh, I'm fine. I can go as long as we want.
Hell yeah.
If you comply with an illegal order, at least you're living. That's the thing that I'm trying to draw points at.
What if I don't comply and I wasn't even thinking it was an order? What if, should I comply if an officer just walks up to me and says, hey, let me see your driver's license?
Yes. Am I being detained?
What if he won't answer that directly? I'm positive the fact that you know that means you're watching the same YouTube videos. They don't have to answer it directly. They just have to engage the question in some way.
Well,
they should answer it directly, but they don't, because there are now all these laws for the ways they can skeeve around it. And in certain circumstances, they can just lie to you. And we're not even talking about ICE right now. We're literally talking about cops at a park.
So if we're talking about cops at a park, right? So you're talking about the boys in blue that just walk up, that patrol the streets, trying to keep us safe.
Yep.
That's all we've gotten to so far. Definitely ICE is worse. 47 days of training, gun badge, masked police force. You know what I like about you know what's crazy about photos of the Nazis? Their faces were in them.
The reason that they're wearing masks is to protect themselves, because there are people out there. I'm not saying you're one of them or your friend is one of them, but there are people there, and we live in the future where we have internet. We have
does my taxes pay their salary?
And yeah, they're a federal.
So
officer,
are they my employee?
No.
Yes, they are. Are you joking?
Government.
What is the government?
A question real quick. If they're masked, would you consider them secret police?
I see what you're getting at there.
I mean, yeah, it's not subtle.
The reason that they are masked is so that you can't identify them, so you can't go down and hunt their family and then harm
to keep them secret.
Are regular police masked?
No.
Why
would
these secret police need to be masked? Yeah.
Right. What's the difference between the two? I just met a cop the other day. He was asking me what I was doing with my drone. I don't like cops, but I didn't dox him. I didn't follow him. I can remember his name right now. I could dox him right now. He was unmasked. He's totally identified. I can also identify him by his badge number. And in fact, there is a right to identification of police in this country because it prevents them. Right now, I think, Nate, I assume based on how you've been pretty good faith on other stuff, you agree that Alex Preddy was murdered by those ICE agents. And so why do we not know who the murderer is? Is that not supposed to be a matter of public record? Should he not have been arrested and there be a trial? Or is it we can't even dox the murderers and know who they are?
And also, it's not doxing to know who is responsible for the crimes. Like naming someone who is like a government official who did a crime, that's not doxing. That's a basic accountability.
Nate, I would never do this. But for the record, if I wanted to, I have your phone number. I could right now put it in a database. I could find out who you are, where you live, where you're calling from, even what tower you're currently connected to. Okay, those are the capabilities. If I was mad enough at you, I could tell my fans, hey, here, let me finish. Here is Nate. This is all of that information. What law would I have broken if I did that? Do you know there aren't anti-doxing laws? You actually are not protected from doxing, even though I, a political opponent of yours, might hate you and decide with the information I have right now that I want to do. Now, I've never done that, never would do that. I want to keep a call-in show going, so we're not going to start doxing people. That would be the quickest way to end a call-in show. But, Nate, You don't have protections from being doxxed. Some states have a little bit of something, but a lot of that gets overturned under freedom of speech stuff. So we only are protecting specifically an undertrained force now with a record of murdering citizens that are operating with an impunity that J.D. Vance has empowered by saying has absolute immunity. Now we have the leaked memo showing that they think they can enter your home without a warrant signed by a judge if they have a warrant signed by a supervisor instead, a totally different type of judge. We've got the video of Greg Bovino saying anybody who's mean to you, let's go ahead and escalate that until we can arrest them. Like, that's what you are saying, Nate, and these are the guys. The reason why they're behind masks is because they're thugs, and the motivation to dox them as opposed to the police, which are also broadly corrupt in this country. But the level of corruption is something apparently most people have accepted to have certain things in return, and because it's what you're used to. ICE is operating like fucking crazy. The reason why, honestly, nobody trusts that the Trump administration won't destroy the ICE records when they lose power because they're going to try and stop the ones who broke the law from being prosecuted by future administrations. Like, that's where we're at, Nate. That's why they're in masks.
You seem to think differently than I am. I think that's very poignant, but
Do you think that phone books, when they existed, were like doxing people?
no, because you can't. I can look at a phone book. It's like, oh, look, that's that person. Oh, I can call them. It doesn't have an address or anything attached.
Phone books had addresses.
Yeah,
they did.
So yeah,
correct.
I'm not old enough to know that. So
I know I'm old, but like, it just seems to me that we should, like, when we have agents of the federal government who are running around in our communities with guns, who are actively killing people and disappearing people and beating people that are all masked, one of the basic things we can demand from our government is accountability. Because what we're describing here is, are you familiar with like the Revolutionary War and like the Redcoats? Like how they would come into communities and like take up residence with like the people they were occupying? Yeah.
You're asking me if I know anything about the American Revolutionary War. Yes, I went to elementary school where they taught that stuff.
Okay, that's awesome. Even the Redcoats weren't running around doing all of these lawless acts in masks. Like, we're talking
Which lawless
armed.
acts are we talking about? Just keeping track.
We're talking like coming into communities and doing things like the Boston Massacre. Like we're talking coming into communities, occupying them, killing people in the streets, and abducting and beating people as they saw fit without any kind of accountability. We have that happening right now in the city I live in, where I'm afraid if my partner walks alone on the street, she could get beaten up or abducted by ICE agents because she's non-white.
Now,
and there are masked
she is
agents.
Not white, and you're.
Yeah,
I'm afraid that
a van full of I'm afraid that a van full of ICE agents could pull her in, and abduct her, because they've done that with people here. They've done
the shit out of them, dump them in.
American citizen.
Beats the shit out of them, dumps them.
They've done that to American citizens.
Yeah. Reportedly, that seems to be early reporting, so the information could change. But that seems to be the emerging information about why Alex Preddy wasn't arrested when he broke that taillight, was that they beat the shit out of him and let him go.
But some of them they're taking, and some of them they beat up in their facility. Like
they beat up that kid who was working at Target.
Yeah.
But Nate,
I want to pivot to
real quick. I'm just really bothered by
situation.
Sure, we will in a moment. I'm really bothered by that we started with if you just comply with officers and give them their information, even if they shouldn't be asking you for it, that could save your life because they might kill you. But you don't see the logic in maybe members of ICE are actually behaving worse than they would. Basically, like, it's okay to let cops violate your rights if there's a threat to you. But it's not okay to tell, like, ICE, you know what? If you violate rights, there's a threat to you. ICE, all you have to do is behave like normal. You can still deport like crazy. Obama proved that. You just have to be fucking normal about it, non-authoritarian about it. And for the most part, you're not going to be any more or less safe than other cops by taking your mask off.
I do agree.
They are acting worse because they're protected by the masks. And they're doing it badly because they're protected by the mask. They should be afraid of the threat of being doxxed if they are violating somebody's rights. That sounds like a great check on them.
I will just throw out there one additional thing. I live here in Minneapolis. There's a large proportion of the people who live here who are indigenous, Native American people. They have tribal IDs, many of them, some of them don't, but they are Native Americans. ICE is taking them and detaining them and trying to say that they should be deported. They are literally Native Americans from the tribal reservations around here. And like, I just, like, do you not believe in accountability for federal agents? Like, do you not believe
I fully believe in accountability?
But then we're not getting that. Like, even the people who are shooting people dead in the street, they're covering that up. Like, they're taking witnesses to that event and denying them denying local investigators access to them in order to cover up that information. They're taking evidence from the scenes of these crimes and denying it to local investigators systematically. Like, what is happening here is not, oh, they need the masks for protection. They need the masks so that they can get away with breaking the law and so that they can rely on federal protection to override any kind of obligation they have to the citizenry that they are ostensibly here to protect. And as somebody who lives here, I do not feel protected right now. I have never felt as unsafe in my city as I do right now because of these masked bandits who have taken up residence in this city. Like, I don't understand. Like, you seem like on the verge of recognizing this, and you recognize that it's wrong, but you're still trying to play defense for them, and I don't get it.
What were you going to say about Alex Preddy? That's what you said you wanted to pivot to.
Oh, he was completely murdered. That officer put that gun right through his back. I don't know what happened.
Do you believe in states' rights?
Could have been going through his state. What now?
Do you believe in states' rights? It's relevant, I promise.
You're going to have to educate me on what that is.
States' rights, what is the right of the state. Yes, they are subject to federal laws, but that a state should be empowered to protect its own citizens on top of the federal laws, that there should be a separation between the federal government and the state government should be empowered to protect its citizens. It says you're a conservative. That is a core conservative principle, that in fact we need to make the federal government less powerful and start empowering state governments. That's like that's what the difference is. That's what conservatism is supposed to be.
Have you ever heard the saying that the USA is just a bunch of 50 countries wrapped into one trench coat?
Mm-hmm. Sure, but could you answer my question now, or do you maintain the conservative principle of strong states' rights? It's not a trick question.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like, I don't know what you mean by that.
Whenever Obama or Biden tried to do anything, Florida and other states like Florida would basically say that's a violation of states' rights. That's overreach. You should let us, the states, decide things that the Constitution guarantees for us. There's lots of guarantees. States are supposed to be able to run their own elections. They're supposed to make local economic decisions. And then there are fights that go the other way. Texas wanted to take over immigration enforcement, but the Constitution prohibits that, gives that to the federal government. And so there was Supreme Court battles. The conservative value, I'm not trying to trick you. If you are a conservative, maybe you don't know what a conservative is and you're just adopting what your parents' label is. But a conservative definitionally should be the states' rights people. That in your state of West Virginia, most of the laws that are affecting you should be coming from West Virginia. And wherever the federal government has an idea, they should have to meet a high burden of proof to legally justify a law that dictates your life instead of the state making that decision. Like they have to really go hard. That's the conservative principle. Yeah. Okay? So Nate, Governor Walz had one of his citizens murdered. You have agreed to this, that was straight up murder. Governor Walz does not know.
Oh.
We're just going with Alex Preddy, the one we were talking about. He's had multiple, but we're going with Alex Preddy. Governor Walz doesn't know who the murderer was. Governor Walz and his organizations are not able to investigate the murder.
So what's your solution to this? We have a
unmasking the agents. Unmasking the thing you wanted to switch to, Alex Preddy. Correct. The thing you wanted to switch to, Alex Preddy. Literally, the masks are a problem here because right now this guy is skirting justice. Justice isn't going to be done for him because the investigations for him and Renee Good and everybody else's are being handled by the people who committed the murder. Unmask them, make them wear badges with numbers, registered vehicles. That's the solution, because then we can seek justice either in the future if this administration won't do it, or the administration actually has a harder time not doing it when it's not a secret stormtrooper.
So here would be the solution. No masks for any law enforcement officer ever.
Correct. I mean, you're being told, like, you're trying to now go into a realm of like total, and I assume now you're going to be like, so even if they're doing a SWAT team night raid and the masks are bulletproof, no masks for publicly patrolling officers, correct?
What was the question?
It was your question, Nate.
Well, what was it? I'm sorry. Somebody came into my room. I'm kind of distracted.
Okay.
All right. Well, are they gone? Because otherwise, if I don't have your full attention, we're going to move on.
All right. What was your answer? I'm sorry.
I said, yes, any public-facing person, officer of any law enforcement agency should never be masked.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, that's my idea of the whole situation, is that no federal officer, no police officer, none of those people should be masked. But my question is that if the people that shot Alex Peretti, which is a horrible thing, if the guy that shot him was unmasked, what would have happened to him?
Probably he would be arrested. I think so.
Or would rioters go to his house and harm his family, if he has kids, if he has a wife?
What happened to Derek Chauvin?
Would he have been hung in the streets?
What happened to Derek Chauvin? Derek Chauvin is the man who killed George Floyd, and he was arrested, and nobody hung him in the street. When citizens see justice is being pursued, generally mobs don't form because nobody wants to murder. Unless you just get a psychopath mob, but then they, storm the Capitol on January 6th. But
also, tens of thousands of people literally marched just a couple days ago with not even a single broken window. Like, people here are angry, but they are committed to nonviolence. The imaginary scenario you're cooking up where, like, these people would have ripped him limb from limb, like, that one that never would have happened anyway, because there were like 24 ICE officers there with guns already.
Right.
Like,
Nate, who is Jonathan Ross?
Who's that one guy that was like not really ripped apart, but he was wearing a vest. He's like a white supremacist. I know he's a white supremacist, but
I don't know about the white supremacist. At first, I thought you were going to be describing the people that the January 6th insurrectionists were beating the shit out of.
He had a plate carrier on, and this one lady kind of ripped it off of him.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I've seen that a while ago.
Who is Jonathan Ross?
No, yeah, who is Jonathan Ross?
Do you know, Nate?
Sounds a bit familiar. I don't know who that is.
Who is Renee Good?
The girl that got shot because people think she tried to run over an ICE officer.
Right. And do you know the name of the ICE officer? I'll give you a hint. I just told you it.
So Jonathan Ross is the ICE officer.
Is he dead? He been torn apart? And by the way, that's still with the government not pursuing justice against him. So even in this scenario where he's not arrested, doesn't even seem like he's under any real meaningful investigation. His families haven't been doxxed. They're not going and pulling them out. They're not hanging anybody in the street. He's in hiding, I'm sure, or at least he hasn't returned to work.
By the way, about the lack of an investigation, in Minnesota, there is a law that stipulates that if an officer of the law is involved in a shooting, that they must be investigated by the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. This was a law that was passed after George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin, right? And the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, had to file a lawsuit against the federal government in order to stop them from destroying evidence related to these murders. Because they got evidence from the way that the agencies were acting, the way that they were gathering up evidence from the scene and disappearing that evidence, that the federal government was trying deliberately to destroy evidence in order to protect these officers. And like, if they're not even willing to hold officers accountable for killing people in broad daylight in the middle of the street who are non-violently resisting them, then you can imagine all of the smaller crimes that they are being allowed to get away with on a daily basis here. It is a lawless agency that has no place operating in my city.
Yeah. One thing I want to pivot to is whenever I first tuned in, you guys were talking about something along the lines of immigrants being arrested or captured for the fact that they ran a red light or something, or that somebody was illegal because they did.
I said that the individual who called in was referring to immigrants who are undocumented as simply the term illegals. And so we are using this term that sounds, it sounds like a violent term. If you refer to somebody as illegal, it's an immediate condemnation. But most of the people they are calling illegals are people who overstayed a visa, initially came here legally. The only thing that they've actually done is a criminal, or a civil violation. So it's not even a criminal violation, it's a civil violation to be in this country, quote unquote, illegal. And so calling a person an illegal is an attempt to dehumanize them so people will care less about what happens. But by the same logic that we are calling them illegals, Nate, I don't know if you're an American citizen, but let's say you are. If you've ever sped, if you've ever littered or loitered or jaywalked, you're an illegal, but you wouldn't want people to call you that because there's a lot of weight to being called an illegal. So we're pointing out that already people who are calling them illegals and want us to engage in that terminology while they're talking, you're already operating in bad faith because you're using this dehumanizing language to basically like change the stakes of everything. It's why they like to do it about, and they want to give money to illegals instead of paying for the healthcare of veterans. No, we want to take care of both. The Republicans literally consistently take worse care of veterans, but we do digress.
I mean, the Republicans in this case literally are condoning and covering up the murder of a VA nurse. So,
right.
Yeah.
Which one's the VA nurse?
Alex Preddy, his life's work was working for the VA as a nurse in the ICU to help veterans. He was reading veterans like their last rites. That's what he did on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Well, see, I do believe that the Alex Preddy was murdered. All right, he was exercising his Second Amendment right, which I am a devout supporter of. The Second Amendment is like the most important of the amendments on the Bill of Rights to me.
Then you should consider socialism because they don't make you get rid of the guns.
Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that. Nope.
This is what always happens with conservatives. You talk to conservatives, and if you don't bring up the word socialism and you just talk about here's what we should do, they're a socialist until they find out that that's socialism. Like it consistently happens.
Explain to me what your idea of socialism is.
Democratically owned and operated means of production.
Broadly, no private ownership, right? Take back the means of production.
No private ownership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hold up. Say that
if
one
you
more time.
broadly, because there's also within that there's tons of categories of it. So I'm a small L libertarian socialist. I think people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want with their own lives as long as it's not infringing and hurting other people. And then broadly, we need to take care of everybody. Businesses should not be allowed to exploit their employees. You should not be allowed to make 10,000 times what your lowest employee makes. You're not, also employees of a place should get a piece of the place because their labor built it. Just because they weren't the one fortunate enough to have the money for the initial investments doesn't make the value of their labor any less. To be a socialist in this country basically means I think the labor that builds companies is actually more important than the rich guy who was like, well, I'm going to try this with daddy's money.
Yeah, and I would just describe it as, the place where you work and spend the majority of your time, you should have a say in how that is run and operated. And I believe that's true of every single person who works in this country. So we should be transitioning our country to a place where your workplace, instead of being run by some rich asshole that lives, on the other side of the planet, it should be run by the people who work there. So it should be democratically
even
run
Jack's
and
country
operated.
would transition. Jeez.
See, I love capitalism. I love the idea of capitalism. I am a capitalist.
Why?
Wholeheartedly.
Why, Nate?
It's just
what,
the best
what capital
part.
do you own?
Literally, if you look at every communist, socialist, or not socialist, but if you look at the communist societies like Russia, Soviet Russia specifically, or North Korea as an extreme. In North Korea, they have a black market, and that black market is basically just capitalism.
Hey, hey, Nate. North Korea is not actually communist. Sorry, bud.
What is North Korea then?
Fascist. Authoritarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascism and communism are not compatible.
What was the Soviet Union?
I would describe it as state capitalist.
Yeah, complicated.
Because, for example, when I say your workplace should be owned by the workers who work there, do you think that the workers owned their workplaces in the Soviet Union? Or did the state own their workplaces?
Oh, no, the state owns all the workplaces.
Yeah,
like
and
China
that's bad.
Right now.
That's
they
bad.
own everything.
Yeah, that's bad. I want the workers to own their workplaces.
Real quick, Nate, though, what would you consider China? What would you consider China's economic system?
Fucking communist.
So you do withdraw. It seemed like the point you were getting at before was that when you look at communist societies, they always fail and are not successful. But if you believe China is communist, then you believe the second strongest, biggest economic system country in the world, and the one that is on its way to overtaking America, arguably the most successful government in the world soon enough, is communist, according to you, right?
Communism only succeeds when capitalism funds it.
Apparently, communism succeeds when you have 1 billion people, and it's just very, very funny, Nate. It's very, very funny that you want to say that communism doesn't work, but you believe China is communist. By the way, it's not. China is state capitalist.
Communism.
China is state capitalist, just so you know, with a better healthcare system than ours.
Wait,
it's state capitalist. Like you're wrong.
We're getting a little bit. We're getting a little bit tilted. We're getting a little bit tilted.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you think communism is?
All I do is tilt.
Communism is like where you don't own anything at all, and the state owns all the stuff and makes all the decisions.
The state.
Well, so communism is actually defined as a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
Well, let's search up communism for it.
Good. Let's search it up. I love when a person describes the state under communism.
Communism is a political and economic ideology that aims to create a classless society through the collective ownership of the means of production, where wealth is distributed according to individual needs. It seeks to eliminate private property and social classes, ultimately leading to a society without money or state. Now, see, that sounds like the most perfect, right? Economic system ever, right?
It also doesn't sound like
but see, the
China.
thing is,
Yeah, right.
Is that
Nate?
all right,
Before you
let me
jump
search
to a
up what
new
China's
point, can you
economic
address
ideology
that you lost the original point? Because you're kind of doing the like shit.
What was my
The
original?
very last word I said just destroyed my argument. So now let me jump to a new one about the concept and the idea of communism. By the way, Jack, I'm a socialist. Are you a communist? Javon is.
I call myself a socialist. In the long term, my goals align with like communism. Like I think it'd be great to get to a stateless, classless, moneyless society. But like I can't really wrap my head around what that would look like. So I advocate for the step that I can wrap my head around, which is at the very least,
as long as other countries exist, I don't think there's a chance at it. And so it's kind of like, I'm a pragmatic social communist. One day, by necessity, with all the automation and robotics and AI shit, communism's all we'll have left as an option. But right now, as long as a single other country exists with military power, true communism's not going to be achieved. It seems
and also like I think the general idea, at least in my mind, is like as you solve some of the problems of like class and money, the need for the state diminishes until at some point in the future you hit a point where like the state no longer needs to exist for society to continue.
So, Nate, you said communism is when everything is, there's no private ownership, it's all owned by the state. You do now recognize through your own exercise of looking up the definition of communism that your understanding of communism was, and it's okay, you don't have to, I'm not trying to shame you, I just want the acknowledgement
I guess
you misunderstood what communism was.
I guess it was wrong.
Yeah, it's good.
I guess it's wrong, but I have my understanding of communism. It's, you know,
do you think from here, maybe you should, before making any decisions and trying to like jump ahead and still argue within the framework of communism being bad, maybe instead, now you go, all right, since I didn't know, I should go educate myself more. Maybe I should even read it, despite the fact that I know it will be leftist propaganda. Maybe I should go pick up some Marx and Engels and hear it from them. Maybe I should actually hear what communists themselves advocate for, and socialists as well.
The funniest thing I find is
what?
That Karl Marx, the person who wrote, you know, the well, what was it? What's it called again?
Communist Manifesto?
I can't remember. That one, yeah, the Communist Manifesto. The guy that wrote it, he was like, he wouldn't die. Like whenever he died, he was buried in England, I presume. And apparently it's because he didn't want to be buried with with the poor heathens of the communist, whatever it was, with the Soviets or whatnot.
It feels weird to me that you wanted to say, you know what I find funny? The fact that, and then you just gave us like, you gave us a scenario, but you were like, or was it like this, or England, or the people like that? If you're gonna lay down a like character assassination of somebody as a fact, you're going to want to tie those words together a little more confidently.
Also, he died in the 1800s before the Soviet Union existed. Like, right? That would have been Tsarist Russia at the time.
By the way, he was buried with his wife, next to his wife. Is it that weird for a person who dies after their wife? Wherever it is, I'm sure that what has happened is you were listening to Newsmax or somebody, and they pointed out that Highgate Cemetery, where he was buried, was kind of a rich person cemetery, and didn't bring up the fact that he wanted to be buried next to his wife and requested that his grave be specifically a modest grave. So I don't know what point you're making. Right, a modest grave, because he wanted to be buried with his wife. So he understood people might, actually, I don't even know that Highgate, I'm just presuming some part of your story is true by trying to guess it. Let me look up. Was Highgate Cemetery mostly an affluent cemetery?
Let's see. Highgate, London, Borough of Camden, Greater London, England.
Yeah, it was considered like I said, I already presumed that part was true, that the cemetery was, while not exclusively for the rich, and contained 170,000 people, including poets, painters, princes, and paupers, with everything from huge monuments to very simple and nearly unmarked graves. So there are rich people there. There are poor people there. He asked to be buried next to, and people that was like, I don't care where I'm buried. I love my partner. The idea of like, together forever or until the earth blows up is cute and stuff, but I won't actually experience it. So it's only a cute thing to think about when you're alive. That was very like, it's not, we shipped my grandmother's ashes to be added to my grandfather's grave. Like, that's not an abnormal request. And so once again, Nate, I think you need to go learn the stuff and not just try to repeat propaganda points of Karl Marx was an obvious, socialist hypocrite because he wanted to be buried next to his wife.
That's great.
Yes.
I love that you are curious about this.
I will go search it
Good.
up.
That's wonderful.
See. I'll give
hear
it a
it
try.
from Nate, hear it from socialists too. I'm not saying you don't have to hear the opposition. In fact, a skeptic wants to. Okay? Hear what a socialist says.
I love hearing
hear
the
a rebuttal, then hear a rebuttal to the rebuttal. Don't stop until one side starts to break down into obvious fallacies, which unfortunately you're going to find you might have to tune yourself to. I would argue that usually the opposition to leftism immediately does, but you might get a couple layers deep until it becomes very obvious that this side is grasping for straws. You keep going, right? And you listen to the opposition and the opposition to the opposition and then the opposition to the opposition to the opposition. You go all the way down and you make the best using a consistent framework of skepticism, the best decision with the information you can.
Yeah, I guess I should do more research, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Call back if you got questions or if you're like, well, but I just found out that one time Karl Marx, he ate a macaron. And so, guys, I mean, come on.
And now I hate macarons because Karl Marx ate it. Oh, no, it's communist propaganda.
Freaking pistachios.
Genuinely, Nate, I really appreciate that you're willing to like approach this with an open mind and like go and actually do the reading, because that is not something most people, right or left, want to do generally. Yeah. And I appreciate the effort. So thank you for calling in.
I see that that when people that are so locked into their like delusion, or not their delusion, but like their train of thought, right? They're so locked into that one singular idea that they can't go and look at others, right? And I hate that. So I always go and try to look for other ideas.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
We're rooting for you, Nate.
Thanks, Nate. We want to talk to you again in the
Goodbye.
future.
Thanks for the talk.
Goodbye, future comrade. I said comrade. He was nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes we call other people things that sound very similar.
I feel like that went really well. I feel like that went really well. I was surprised.
On all fronts, that so little do good faith people call in that one might even blame me for how poor the conversations go. But when they call in, I'm on my best behavior. And he also was able to handle, I recognize there are things I say in abrasive ways, like, I think you are misinformed. And here is the like way I think you're misinformed and the people I think you're listening to. And sometimes people's egos can't handle that. But, this will be the call I point to when everybody's like, and all you do, the guy before, and this is all you do. We disagreed throughout the whole thing. And yet we came to a moment of clear submission. No, I'm kidding. Of clear
curiosity, at least.
Mutual respect of at least each other's humanity. We'll say something like that. All right,
I feel like if you can foster like a sense of curiosity, you can dig yourself out of any ideological hole and like get back to.
Now let's get back to the trash calls. Just kidding. I'm not going to poison the well. Sean in Ohio. Sean, you're on the line with Jack and Jimmy. Go up the hill to fetch a pail of water. How old are you?
24.
And who did you vote for in the last? Yeah, I hear you. Who did you vote for in the last two elections? Because I think you would have been eligible for both. The Trump versus Biden and Trump versus Harris. Who'd you vote for? Sorry?
Neither party.
Okay.
You abstained or you voted third party?
Abstained.
Are you voting in local elections?
Not really. None of them interest me.
None of the politicians or the parties?
Parties.
Okay. I've been kind of asking a question from people like you, just to get like a basis. It's not meant to be a trick, but could you tell me who the governor of Ohio is?
I can't remember. I haven't paid attention to them.
What about
I know it's a Republican.
What about the senators?
Again, this is irrelevant to my.
Okay, but could you? I'm just curious if you could answer. I'm just curious if you could answer it, though.
So I'm talking about trans ideology. I don't think it really matters.
But it matters to me. Could you just let me know whether or not you can answer that question?
No.
You can't? Okay. I like to get that basis from people who say specifically, I find a lot of voters, and I dare say I think you might have been doing it too, perhaps it might be innocent enough. I find a lot of voters say they didn't vote because of something that is wrong politically happening. But then it turns out that the voters who didn't vote are actually just politically unaware people and who don't even know who their governors and their senators are. So I would say to the caller whose name I forgot, Sean, your local elections affect your life a lot. In a normal election cycle, even more than the presidential election. And I really want to strongly urge you to start getting into politics, start actually becoming like a politically involved individual, especially if you're going to say things like call in to talk about the trans ideology stuff, become thoroughly educated on what that actually is, and then whose values align with you and seek their election. So just something I want to urge you with. And just so you know, for the future, your John Husted and Bernie Moreno are your senators. And I believe your governor is Mike. I had to look up the senators because I'm not in Ohio. I believe your governor is it's Mike DeWine. Is that correct?
Yep, nailed it. And I just out of curiosity from my end, like you don't like either party. What party do you align with, if you're aware of any at all?
Not really. I mean, both sides are just idiotic people trying to reach for power.
Okay.
Hey, I am curious, and maybe this is a little bit, I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much, but you know who the current vice president is, right?
Yes, J.D. Vance.
And do you know where he was a senator before he was president?
Here in Ohio.
Excellent. Okay, we got our base level of some political awareness. All right, now Sean, you're calling in to say what about what you call trans ideology. We'll first get your initial statement. Oh, before we start, our audience of about 1,700 people watching live, would you like them to refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
Whatever you want. Doesn't interest me.
It doesn't bother you? So if everybody in the chat just started saying she, her, this lady, you're good with all that?
You're engaging right now in some trans ideology?
Yeah, it is interesting because it would be trans people who came up with the idea that you can choose your pronouns and you're choosing to not. So it's very trans of you to say this.
Yeah, are you do you consider yourself a trans person?
No.
Oh.
I just don't really care what people call me.
Very progressive.
Some people might say that is actually an indicator of being a type of transgender person.
Well, I thought this is the topic where you said you called in on trans ideology, of which you apparently have fallen hook, line, and sinker for.
I'm not a kid, though. You need to keep it away from the kids. Kids are young and impressionable.
Keep what away from the kids?
Wait, but if you were like in front of a kid right now, like say there was a child watching, turn it off. you would be exposing them to trans ideology, right? By not having clear pronouns?
No.
Why not?
You guys are the ones who are explaining it that way.
Well, I mean, I feel like typically we have like a weird situation here where typically people in your camp would be the ones saying, you have one set of pronouns, you can't change it. And you are over here being like, you can call me any kind of pronoun you want. Like traditional pronouns, neo pronouns, like whatever pronouns you want. And like that's fine. It's just it seems at odds with the basic premise of the argument that you're calling in to make.
But I mean, I'm curious about a lot. Sean, what is gender ideology? Would you go ahead and just define it briefly, if you can?
Trans ideology.
What did I say?
What is that?
Ideology thinking you're the opposite gender. You can't be the opposite gender. It's just a biological fact. If you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman.
Well, you said biological fact. You're trying to bring in science, but currently the scientific consensus does not line up with you. In fact, the concept of man and woman would be more of a psychological experience, would be more of who you feel you are. I think you're meaning to say male and female, so I don't know why you would want to invoke science when right now science doesn't agree with you. In fact, science recognized trans people as existing and their experience being what they've described it as. So it's weird you go with science. Do you mean the Bible, maybe? Do you mean the not science, but the Bible?
Agnostic.
Oh, so you're just repeating biblical precepts, ignorant of the science, but you aren't yourself biblical.
Believe what you want there. That's not part of the conversation.
That's where your ideology comes from.
How do you reckon with the fact that like we have like a historical record of like societies with 3 or more genders going back thousands of years? How do you reckon with that?
This is all irrelevant. Keeping it away from kids. It's an adult thing.
Okay,
it's meant for
that didn't answer my question.
Above 18.
So to be clear, Sean, you actually don't care whether or not trans ideology, as you call it, is true. You're saying it's not relevant whether it's true or not. You're just saying, even if it is true, keep it away from kids.
Yes.
Okay, great.
They don't need to be knowing this stuff because people are bringing it into the most disgusting way.
So is your argument that we should teach children lies? Like we should teach children things that aren't true?
My argument is we should teach the kids how to live life first. Teach them economics, how to build.
Before you teach them gender?
Economics and how to build.
Do you have a problem with the show Bob the Builder?
No.
Bob is a man.
What's your point?
That's teaching children like at least a part of, gender ideology. Right?
No, I mean, a girl can watch Bob the Builder and get inspired to be a constructor.
Okay, what if Bob was a trans man?
That's dumb. Why are we teaching kids about that stuff?
Well,
because trans men exist.
Yeah. Buildings exist, construction workers exist.
Need to be in a kid's show.
Sean, what if my parents are trans? How old should I be before I find out what trans people are?
I believe around 16, 17 is the good age to actually start learning about that stuff.
What is the oldest, what is the youngest that we should teach children about? If a child is interested in clownfish, how long should we wait to allow them to read books on clownfish?
It's a clownfish. It's a fish.
Okay. So how long should we wait till we allow them to read books on clownfish?
I want to say around 10 when they can get better reading skills. So they can
what if an 8-year-old already has good reading skills and they love clownfish? Should we let them read about clownfish?
Yeah, it's a book about fish.
Sure. Now, what percentage of clownfish are born female?
All right, that's irrelevant because clownfishes can change their genders while humans cannot.
No, they can change their sex. Clownfish don't really have an experience of gender. Anyway, so what percentage of clownfish are born female?
I don't know. Don't look into that stuff.
It's 0%. They're all born male. And then when a group of clownfish get together, one of them's like, you know what? I want babies. And they become females. Now, if my 8-year-old child who is advanced for their age comes to me and says, wow, sex apparently is not just simply how you're born. There's apparently more to it. And let's say I'm their transgender dad. And they say, is there anything like that with humans? Should I say no? There's only males and females, and you are what you're born. Yeah. Or should I tell them the truth that trans people exist? I'm sorry, what?
Trans people do exist. You should tell them that no, there's nothing like that for humans. Just because
okay,
you're
but you
earlier
you said it isn't dependent on whether or not it's true, and we declared that it is true. You said it doesn't matter if it's true or not. So you are saying regardless of if it's true, we should tell them it's not true. So we should lie to kids if it is true.
Yeah, we should teach them lies, which is what I said earlier. And you seemed upset by that.
Right. Yeah, it's Sean. So here's the deal, Sean.
You're doing the
Sean, children have better outcomes if you teach them about their sexuality and if you teach them about their gender at a younger age. And in fact, the thing that hiding, excuse me, in fact, the thing that I can't listen to you and talk at the same time. So whatever point you think you're making isn't falling on deaf ears. It's falling on ears that literally can't process my words and yours at the same time. So if you'll just keep your mouth fucking shut when I'm talking, everything will go way better. Now, Sean, abuse is especially the problem here. If you don't give a child comprehensive sex education, which now should include the education on trans individuals and that they exist, and here's what it looks like. And if you arm them with the vocabulary, they have better outcomes and are harder for adults and pedophiles and even other kids to abuse because they have language to put to their experience. Do you believe that children should be educated on what depression is so that they can identify if depression is something they're experiencing and seek help for it?
What age?
Oh my God.
You tell me, at what age should a child be educated on depression? Let's say depression starts appearing in children between 14. The ages of 7 and 10. Should we wait until after they are already depressed for years? I'm sorry, what?
That's okay, so they should be taught. Doesn't mean you should teach the whole class.
Wait. Let's say that children start experiencing depression between the ages of 7 and 10, that it often pops up there. When should we wait to educate them on identifying what depression is so they have language to describe it and seek help if they need it?
What does it have to do with trans kids that shouldn't exist?
Sean, I'm just going to ask the question again because you're trying to get ahead or prevent being forced to engage in good faith. Let's say that depression shows up in children between the ages of 7 and 10. What year then should we wait to explain to them what depression is so they have language to describe it if that's what they're going through so they can seek help?
As I told you, if they are experiencing at that age, they should be sent to they should be able to tell.
Sean, that is not the question. I wasn't educated as a child on what depression or anxiety was, which meant I didn't know how to describe it to a therapist, to an adult, to a professional until I was until my 20s, that something was going on mid-teens. And so I wasn't able to start seeking help until far too late. And then the fact that I got intercepted by a religious system and made it worse is a different issue completely. So I should have been educated earlier. This isn't about when they should get help, though that's a tangential thing. When should we arm children with the language to describe their experience so that if they have that experience, it can be communicated so they can get help in the first place?
High five if you want to do that, but
Okay, great. 5 sounds great. Now, that's for depression, anxiety. Gender dysphoria is often experienced in the very early years of life, way before a child is an adult. So when should a child be armed with the language to know what gender dysphoria is so they can communicate that to their parents, to a professional, to whoever, so they can find out what the solution for their gender dysphoria is? At what age should they be educated on what gender dysphoria is?
15 and up.
So with depression, you went 5 years old because it appears in 7 to 10 years old. When I just told you it's in very early life, sometimes how early is it documented, Jack? Is it like 2 and 3 year olds?
Oh yeah, around 3 years old, people begin developing a sense of gender identity.
Right. So you would like to wait 10 years at least after a person may be experiencing gender dysphoria to educate them on what gender dysphoria is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm done with my food.
I guess I would just say, how old do you think a kid needs to be before they learn head, shoulders, knees, and toes?
That's a child song, so don't be playing in that. It's that bad faith argument stuff right there.
No, it's not bad faith. I genuinely want to know how old you think you have to be in order to learn that song.
Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Because the reason I'm asking this is because you're saying, well, you can't teach gender, you can't teach sexuality to kids, but like when we're talking about when you're talking about teaching a lot of these concepts, like things like head, shoulders, knees, and toes are key components of teaching kids, because when we're talking about teaching kids, we're talking about teaching them in an age-appropriate way. Like when folks like you tend to talk about this subject, you make it seem like the education is like throwing on like a pornography in front of like a 5-year-old, and like, you know, that's not what people are talking about, right? You know, like we're talking about like teaching kids like what the name of their genitals is, like so that they can describe, hey, someone touched me there who wasn't supposed to. And it helps catch predators in the community. It helps, keep them safe. It does a lot of good and beneficial things, and you teach them more the older they get, right? And what Jimmy was trying to get at with that clownfish example is that, and what I was trying to get at with the Bob the Builder example, is that we begin teaching kids about gender very early on. Like, I don't know, for example, another children's show, Thomas the Tank Engine. Do you think Thomas is a male trained because he has a penis? Or is there a different set of qualities we attribute to Thomas the Tank Engine that might be described separate from genitalia?
I'm tired of this transgender ideology.
I kind of am.
I know you are, Sean. You're exhausted.
Yeah. Do you need a nap?
No, that's against trans people.
How many trans people have you ever met, Sean? In person?
One.
How many children do you have?
0. I'm 24.
Then shut the fuck up.
I'm really sorry that I tired you out.
You're allowed to have an opinion. I'm sorry. I'm just bored with, like, you're accusing people of bad faith. No, I shouldn't do this. Jack, you finish with, I just am unimpressed by you, the non-voter who doesn't have an opinion, doesn't know who your senators are, doesn't know who your governor is, who's calling in to tell other parents what they should do for their children. You aren't familiar with what you call transgender ideology, and you don't have a good sense of most things. It's like it's all you have is an opinion. That's literally it. You don't have facts on your side. You said the word science. You apparently didn't know what it means. Literally the only thing you have is an opinion.
I know what science means. This is just being rude.
I guess you called in to talk about trans issues, and I'm trying to give you an example, and then you're too tired to engage with an example that I literally made specifically because it could appeal and be understood by a child. and you're too tired to engage with it, Sean. And again, I want to point out the irony of calling in and saying you are just this gender fluid. No, wait. You're calling in and you are embodying like a gender fluid individual by embracing all pronouns.
I don't care.
And you're embracing all pronouns, and you're saying, like, you shouldn't be exposed, like you shouldn't be like talking to kids because you might trans them by not using the right pronouns. Like that's the thing you're calling in to argue, and you don't even understand that that's what you're saying. Like, you haven't thought about this enough to even examine the ramifications of your argument, Sean. Like, you are incapable of interacting with an example I made for a child's mind. Like, just sit with that, man.
I have an interesting question, I think, a scenario for you, Sean. Since you said nothing until 15. Hang on, Sean. You said nothing until 15. Let's say that there is a transgender woman and she is 30 years old. Her name is now Mary, but she grew up as a Michael. Okay? Let's say there's a 10-year-old and y'all go to the, what's that, Cracker Barrel. You're at a buffet and you run into Mary and someone says, "This is my friend Mary." And you're like, "Oh, hello, thanks, that's great," and everything. Your 10-year-old has now met Mary. And then you go to the table and a man comes over to you and goes, "Just so you know, her name is Michael. Do not call her Mary. Men cannot be women." Did the man who came over and did that do something wrong?
I mean, I don't know why they'd go to some random person and say that, but this is irrelevant to...
Sean, answer the question. Did that man do something wrong?
No.
He didn't? So you just said, don't introduce children to the transgender ideology, but that man did. Not...
He's not telling that to me.
Excuse me, that man just introduced that child to the idea that there's something wrong with the child. At no point in the story did I say, you met Mary and she said, "And my pronouns are she, her, and I was born with a weenie, why don't you know?" All you met was a person with the name Mary, which, by the way, technically is also a boy's name. But anyway, you met someone named Mary, and the guy went out of his way to come and tell your 10-year-old men can't be women, so his side of the quote-unquote gender ideology argument. And he's the one who introduced your child to the idea that somebody he considers a man is out presenting as a woman. You are a hypocrite. You earlier said it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, keep it away from kids. And you just embraced the example where a cisgender transphobic man brought it straight to the kid and said that that guy did nothing wrong.
You said he told me, not my kid.
No, I said he came over to your table. I said he came over to your table and said to the kid, "That is Mary. Mary is Michael. Men can't be women." And you said that he did nothing wrong.
If he said that to my kid, I told him to stop that. Don't be talking to my kids.
It's cute now that your hypocrisy has been pointed out when you already let it slip earlier. You actually have...
I did not. Shut the fuck up and
hey,
let me
Sean.
talk real quick. You talk first.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Oh, not Sean telling me to shut the fuck up. Oh, I gotta put it to music. Oh, no. Oh, God, guys, what am I gonna... Oh, he's got me. He tore at me. I'm tearing apart. Where the fuck's my guitar pick?
Jimmy, I gotta say, I feel ableist talking with this person.
I often do. In general with the show, but we might be ableist the opposite way. Do you realize we might be being ableist not for the reason we think, but because we're assuming you have to have a mental disability to just be average level of MAGA intelligent. Jimmy, shut the fuck up! Wait, my bad. Jimmy, shut the fuck up! Sean said to a guy with a mute button, "Jimmy, shut the fuck up." I don't think he would ever use his mute button. Okay, that's your song, and he hung up. You little bitch. Tell me to shut the fuck up? I will eat you for goddamn breakfast. You aren't intelligent. You aren't good. You're an obvious hypocrite. And what you don't actually mean is, it's very clear from multiple examples now, you don't actually believe keep it away from kids. You actually believe only tell kids trans people are delusional. Only tell people transgender doesn't exist. Specifically, teach them about gender and that it is immutable. It is unchangeable. That all of those people are delusional. Because, first of all, you guys don't even bother to fucking put internet guards on your children's smartphones. And then you want to complain about the education that factually exists out there, that isn't out there being like, and now we're going to watch a bunch of trans porn. It's literally, we're just going to watch a video that is purely educational, will give you terminology. The rooms where everybody's watching trans porn is called the RNC. It's fucking, they blow that shit up. I don't know what it is. I don't know why every Republican state has a higher occurrence of trans porn consumption, except for I kind of have an idea. You guys are insane.
I'm still really sad that he wouldn't engage with my Thomas the Tank Engine question. He got too tired. He got too tired to answer it, Jimmy.
I feel you did make a small error there, in that there's a lot of people where it would be fucked up if we just tell everyone the truth about Santa. And I feel that it wasn't that okay to tell people that Thomas doesn't have a penis. I like to believe he does.
Okay, you know what? Okay? That's true. I haven't examined the intricacies of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Do you know?
That's on me. That's on me. I didn't dive into what I'm sure is copious amounts of fan fiction about the biology of Thomas the Tank Engine.
I also have an electric drum set, and I'm realizing I need it. I've got the piano here, the guitar is here, and I need to bring in my electric drum set, just a snare and a cymbal for when I say, like, you didn't see if he had a penis because you were staring at his caboose. That would have been phenomenal, but no such luck. I'm sorry, everybody. I fucked it up. Jack, this was fun. I had a lot of fun with you. Sorry that I cisplain so much. I talk a lot.
No, it's fine. It's nice sometimes to sit back and just be in awe of some of the mental gymnastics that these people pull off. But I felt really good. Like, that first call and the last call kind of bookended our time together, and that very low effort, lazy bigotry on display. But the middle callers, I appreciated all of them.
I liked somebody telling me to shut the fuck up when I literally have a mute button. Like, are you so stupid right now? Are you so dumb? I don't know. Thank you. My transgender ideology was an underrated and underappreciated. Send $5 now if you want to appreciate that comment. Yeah, no, I know I can't. That's not even wrong. Someone said Jimmy literally can't not stop talking. I think it's a condition. I get it. I like to think that trans people like doing shows with me because a lot of times, if you are going to be with someone who chronically talks a lot, it really sucks when it's a well-meaning cisgender person who sucks at it. And so I like to be that well-meaning cis person where it's like, well, at least he's cis-splaining okay.
For a split second, I thought you were going to say, and we all know trans people be yapping.
They're definitely women. There we go. Oh, man. I'm happy. I'm going to kill zombies tonight. Hey, everybody, don't forget to participate in the strike tomorrow. If we go live tomorrow, it will be with a charity event where 100% of the super chats will go to a charity. Even YouTube won't get a cut. But I haven't figured out if we can. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I don't know if it's going to take it out of me. So I don't want to commit, but I do want to do things for charity. So if you're still looking for something to do tomorrow, we'll probably do a big charity event if I'm well enough. Jack, you're welcome to join for that. Are you doing the strike tomorrow?
I have to like figure out logistics with my family and what's going on tomorrow, but we'll see.
Strike it out. If you have time, we'll probably just like play some games. I want to play Imposter with a bunch of people.
Ooh, have you played
Imposter?
Yeah.
It's good. we're going to try and do something, but it's a general strike. So don't go to school, call out of work. Obviously, don't get fired. Don't get expelled. Okay. It's one of those things of like, if you have enough privilege to strike or slightly not enough privilege, but they kind of have no choice but to take you back. Yeah, sure, they will be mad, but they can't fire me. That kind of thing where it's a general strike. I don't want to go to this doctor's appointment tomorrow, but I made it 8 fucking months ago because I am an American healthcare consumer. Okay, so I gotta go tomorrow. It's not the dermatology one, but I did get a regular doctor to look at the armpit. Armpit's fine. There was a thing in there. I was like, bro, is that cancer? It's not cancer. I think it was permanent marker. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be fucking crazy. I'm already enough of a hypochondriac. Anyway, I wonder if your illness is similar to mine when you discuss it quite. Well, the main thing that you guys know about my symptoms of, I don't talk about everything because it's not really relevant, but it's called bile acid malabsorption. So just look that up and you'll see if you have it. And if you do, the main treatments, my problem is that I had it so long that I became otherwise sick and my organs got some strained and some shit going on with some other conditions. So the level to which I have it is rather severe. Out of Mayo Clinic, the research coming out is that it might be most people with IBS-D specifically, you might actually have a lower form, like a lesser form of it. And if that turns out to be the case, I love telling everybody about this. If you have chronic diarrhea, you need to look into bile acid malabsorption. And literally, if it ends up being what you have, they do it in a powder and they do it in a pill. I do the powder because it's more effective for me. You literally just drink resin. I have to drink a lot of it, but a lot of people get away with 1 or 2 packs a day. Some don't even have to do every day, just days where they eat like a higher fat content. I have to drink like 6 of these. It's disgusting, but the amount it will improve your life is a lot. So I love talking about diarrhea. Yeah. Yes, it is why I lost weight. You'll notice I put some of it back on, but I lost like almost 90 pounds and then I've put like 25 of it back on recently. Because it turns out do not live in a natural state of weight loss. It turns out I am just hungry and I like to snack too much. Anyway, it's called cholestyramine. If for people who are curious, CHOLESTR, it's STYRAMINE. This is an oral suspension. It literally takes, so if you have, this is only interesting to me. I will only talk about it for 20 more seconds. Bile acid malabsorption basically means your body is not reabsorbing all of its bile. My body doesn't reabsorb most of its bile. And so it's like fucking up. So once the bile hits your colon and doesn't reabsorb, it agitates it. So your body floods it with water, which is what causes diarrhea. And it can also be massively like made worse by lactose intolerance and other things. And you can go from me who had literally like a dozen instances a day when I was at my sickest to I have maybe had, I mean, it's gross to just say on the internet, but I've maybe had diarrhea like 4 times since starting this medication. I went from like 12 times a day to 4 times in 2 years or a year and a half, whatever we're at now. So, I wish cholestyramine did sponsorships the way I would get that money. Jesus Christ. But I love telling anybody with IBS-D, especially if they know, like, for some reason, even if I take Lactate, if I eat like wings or like meat or chips or whatever, French fries, something is still setting it off, even if I'm covering my lactose intolerance. That's pretty much it. And if you've ever had your gallbladder removed, you have it. Like, I'm just going to say it. I'm not a doctor, but you got it. So that's fun.
I should probably look into that because I also have a lack of gallbladder in my body. So
if you have combine IBS with lack of gallbladder, unless you specifically have IBS-C, which does happen to some people, but yes, everyone who gets chronic diarrhea of any kind, you need to check that out. I'm already in the clear for pancreatic cancer right now for the person who know that a lot of people have IBS. So while it's true that pancreatic cancer can be mistaken for IBS, I've been dealing with my intestinal issues since I was a wee lad. And pancreatic cancer does not abide you that amount of time, as you are aware, Fiona. But yeah, so it does help a lot. I am still, how are you still alive? Barely. I mean, I made it past it. I was not long for this world when we finally turned things around. Though that was actually probably more a fact of my very severe sleep apnea. That was probably the thing that when they found out how bad it was, they were like, dude, you like the score you have, people live less than 6 years from that and they all stroke out. But yeah, so it was a fun thing. My life has improved a lot, but unfortunately still is very inhibited by what the stuff is. But life's worth living now.
That's good.
Yeah. I would say 2 years ago, I would have been like, I can only stand some amount more time with this. I don't know exactly what that number is. Anyway, what a great introduction of Jack to me, because other people at the line have been like next to me for a lot of this journey and gotten to see how bad I got and now how much better and things are. Whereas Jack is she's getting the full Monty.
Full Jimmy.
Compressed. Is this your first exposure to me besides the little meeting we did that one time?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched some of the content, but yeah.
Oh gosh, sorry. Trash. All right, well, cool. And for people who I'm good enough to say, I mean, you can still withdraw your candidacy, but Jack is joining the line officially starting in February. So
yep,
that's all happening.
You'll see more of me.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think you already have 2 Thursdays in scheduled. It's going to be on Takis, and we're going to be doing things to try and improve Takis. So look out for that. It's too wholesome. It's like
it was extremely wholesome the last couple times I've been on.
It's a lot of people calling in for advice, and we don't want to tell them to go nowhere. Those resources exist mostly in the form of our posterity. We've posted the answer to almost all of those questions. We really want to argue more. So
yeah,
maybe we should...
there were plenty of transphobes called in today. Right. Call into the show we have dedicated to it. I think
as soon as we get on the vertical stream simultaneous to horizontal, it'll be easier, but here we go.
Yeah.
Hollywood Jack and Rim Jim. We are not going to let that nickname stick. That's going to be a hard no from me.
Pass.
You guys force Skeppy talk down my throat. Rim Jim, we're passing on. That's going to be a no from me, dog. All right. Thank you, everybody who did super chat today. I think my thing is working weird, so I don't think we're going to read them. We never promised to anyway, but we do appreciate you doing that. In the future, once we've done the full conversion and stuff, there probably will be, as often as possible, dedicated super chat readings, but we do appreciate you. Don't forget the strike tomorrow. Check out The Line as a podcast. Saturday, The LineCon Online Live, a production of The Line, will be happening over on The Line's Patreon, patreon.com/calltheline. $15 and above tier get to attend. It's myself, Aaron Raw, and Eric of Skeptics and Scoundrels. Eric's talk will be called Street Epistemology and Civil Discourse. Mine is called Righteous Roasting and Uncivil Discourse. And Aaron will be doing, I guess he changed his talk to something like, What is God? Baby, don't hurt me no more. So you don't want to miss that.
Oh.
No, keep going.
No, it's good.
If we could get the live, I think there's a way with Zoom actually for musicians to get our latency down. We can start a Zoom band.
That'd be pretty fun.
Are you all in? All right, everybody. That was the show. Oh. That was the show. Goodbye.
Bye.